Chapter 295. After an unknown amount of time, she opened her eyes. The sky was already dark, and she couldn't see anything. Her hands and feet were tied with ropes. She felt her body was floating. It should be on the surface of the water. Xiaoya, Xiaoya. She heard Gu Lingqing's voice and thought she was hearing things. Did she miss Gu Lingqing too much? Xiaoya, Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing's voice came again. She heard it clearly and quickly replied, "I'm here, Gu Lingqing, Gu Lingqing." The light from the phone's flashlight shone in. Gu Lingqing opened the lid of the wooden box. Baiya saw Gu Lingqing and asked in surprise, "Why are you here?" Gu Lingqing untied the ropes on Baiya's body and explained, "It's a long story. Let's leave here first. Chen Bin is still outside." "Chen Bin is outside?" Baiya panicked. She held Gu Lingqing's hand and said anxiously, "Chen Bin is LV Xingzhou's man. He was the one who kidnapped me and brought me here." "What?" Gu Lingqing sensed the danger. He heard a swoosh outside and opened the window. A flash of fire came. He didn't have time to think. He held Baiya's hand and jumped out of the window. With a bang, the bomb exploded on the boat. Then, there were 9 deafening explosions. The boat was blown into pieces and sank. Gu Lingqing was shocked. Many things flashed in his mind. He had a terrible headache. He shook his head and tried not to think about it. He felt the pain and looked at Baiya, who was also shocked. "Wait for me here." Baiya held Gu Lingqing's hand. There were only the two of them on the vast sea. She knew that she would soon be exhausted and drown in the sea. At this time, she did not want to be separated from him. Even if she died, she wanted to be together with him. "We're running out of time. I'll come up and tell you later," Gu Lingqing said anxiously and then went downstream. She was the only one on the surface of the sea. It was pitch black all around, and she couldn't see any cameras. She seemed to have seen this scene before in her dreams. She was the only one in the world, facing endless loneliness and darkness. She remembered the self-rescue strategies she had seen on TV after falling into the sea. She took off her trousers and twirled them around to absorb the air. She tied a knot at the trouser legs and tightened the waistband around her neck. According to the video, this kind of simple swimming ring could last for 2 hours. What about 2 hours later? This should be the deep sea. Even if they were not eaten by sharks, they would starve to death or die of thirst. After waiting for a long time, Gu Lingqing did not come out. Was there a need for her to survive alone? 7 minutes later, a large piece of wood floated beside him. Baiya was shocked. Gu Lingqing came out of the water, gasping for breath. Gu Lingqing. She smiled happily when she saw him coming out. With him by her side, even if she was in hell, she would feel warm. Gu Lingqing smiled at Baiya. "We're very lucky. There's no wind today. You hold this board first. I'll connect the other boards." "Okay," Baiya replied. She could not see Gu Lingqing anymore when he swam, but she could hear the sound of him swimming in the water. She knew that he was by her side. She put on her trousers and lay on the board. Her mood was unusually calm. Half an hour later, Gu Lingqing connected the other 3 boards with a rope and swam towards her. "I'll tie your board to the bottom." "I'll tie the last board to the bottom," Gu Lingqing said with a smile. It was rare for him to smile. At this moment, his smile made her feel very relieved. "I'll help you." Gu Lingqing nodded. "Come here and press on the board on my side. Try to press down and let the other side rise." "Okay." Baiya swam to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing swam to her side. She tried to press down, but her strength was too little. She was almost lying on one side of the board. Gu Lingqing pressed on the board on his side and came up from the ground. They succeeded on the first try. Gu Lingqing tied the rope to the board. "Why do you have so many ropes?" Baiya asked curiously. "I saw some inside when I was looking for you. In addition, other than the wooden box that they used to store you, the bed and the wine barrel are all made of wood. Unfortunately, the wine barrel was blown into pieces and has no value. You go up first," Gu Lingqing explained. "Okay." Baiya climbed to the top of the board and lay on her stomach. She didn't dare to move, afraid that she would roll down and burden Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing climbed up and pulled out a few plastic bags from the water. "What are these?" Baya was surprised. There was a water dispenser on the ship. There was still more than half of the water in the big bucket on the water dispenser. Unfortunately, it was blown up. I found 3 bottles of mineral water. We can use it for a few days if we save it. Also, I took all the empty mineral water bottles. They can be used to make distilled water. And some other things. All sorts of things are still hanging down there. I took everything that I could take. Maybe it will be useful, Gu Lingqing explained. You did so many things in just a few minutes. Baya was impressed. She didn't admire soldiers, but she felt that it was amazing. Holding my breath is not my strong point. Usually, I can do it for 7 to 8 minutes. There's an Italian Guinness Book winner, David Molini, who can hold his breath for 20 minutes and 55 seconds. Won't you die if you don't breathe for 20 minutes and 55 seconds? Baya was very surprised. This requires special training. There's a group of sea women who live by the sea. They can hold their breath for 3 minutes on average. When they go to the bottom of the sea to salvage, they can also hold their breath for 7 to 8 minutes. However, they are afraid that it will burden their bodies, so they are not allowed to do it. Have you also undergone special training? Baya tilted her head and asked him. Although she had known him for a long time, she never asked about his military affairs. Yes. It's necessary for combat, Gu Lingqing responded. Some scenes flashed in his mind, and he looked down. That time, he went out to carry out a mission. When he boarded the ship, he was recognized by the other party as Gu Lingqing. They fought. The other party was outnumbered and ignited all the cereal bombs on the ship. He jumped into the sea and was hit in the head by a part of the ship. He fainted and held his breath for more than 8 minutes. He was rescued, but part of his memory was lost. Gu Lingqing, Baya shouted. Gu Lingqing came back to his senses and looked at Baya. That day, in order to test him, those people captured Baya, saying that she was Gu Lingqing's girlfriend. When he left, he ordered his men to save her in a roundabout way. At that time, she was investigating Lu Liang City in Jinyang City, while he was investigating the cereal bomb case in Jinyuan City. The cereal bomb case was because someone used a cereal bomb during Blue Wolf's drill, causing 8 soldiers of Blue Wolf to suffer different degrees of injuries. The murderer who used the cereal bomb was Miller. At that time, Miller did not die. After recognizing him, he drove the yacht and left early. Chapter 296. Huh. Baya was a little dazed. She didn't understand what he meant at that moment. I said, I found all my lost memories, explained Gu Lingqing. He looked at Baya's expression. You didn't tell those people that I'm Gu Lingqing on purpose. It's because I met an old rival during my mission and he recognized me. Baya stared at Gu Lingqing. Many complicated thoughts flashed through her mind. It was hope. It was touching. It was because all her grievances had found a place to belong. It was also a sense of loss and gloom. He had regained his memories. Before this, she really wanted him to. He remembered everything in their past. The sweet, the sad, and the hard work they had together. Now what could she do after knowing? Baya turned around and looked into the distance. A gust of wind blew over. It was very cold. She shivered. Gu Lingqing hugged her from behind. His warm body temperature surrounded her instantly. Her back stiffened, still vaguely resisting something. Xiaoya, do you know how long the ship has been sailing for? Asked Gu Lingqing softly. What? Baya looked at Gu Lingqing in confusion. Her heart trembled violently when she met his affectionate gaze. We sailed for more than 6 hours and found you. We're in the deep sea now, explained Gu Lingqing. She guessed that they were in the deep sea. If they were by the sea, LV Xingzhou would have blown them up. The sound would be too loud. Only in the deep sea could they be undetected. LV Xingzhou is indeed ruthless, but he seems to have underestimated your ability to survive. Baya smiled bitterly. Gu Lingqing held her chin and lowered his head. Baya stepped back subconsciously. Pain flashed through Gu Lingqing's eyes. If we can't go back anymore and die on this sea, you still won't open your heart to me? With your ability, we will definitely be able to go back, right? Your chief of staff will also carry out a search and rescue operation after seeing that you have disappeared for a few days, Baya said with certainty. I know something happened to you, so I was in a hurry to come out. Chenbin sent my men away. Even if they come to rescue us, they won't know that something happened to us at sea. Do you think they will come to rescue us at sea? Gu Lingqing asked. Bai Ya's heart skipped a beat. She looked at Gu Lingqing, trying to find traces of lying on his face, but there was none. Will we die at sea? Bai Ya asked. Gu Lingqing looked down at her. I might die, I might not. I don't want to die with regrets. Xiaoya, you still love me, right? She really didn't want to. She didn't want to struggle anymore. Pushing him away again and again was very tiring. She did not know what tomorrow would bring. Salvation or death. At the very least, he could maintain his current peace of mind. Is there any reason why I don't like you? In order not to marry Su Xiaoling and protest to your parents, you cut off your little finger. In order not to marry Zhou Hailon, you lost your house and money, Bai Ya said. Her eyes were red. It sounded like she was scolding him, but her tone was touched. When Gu Lingqing heard that she did not deny it, he smiled. He lowered his head and kissed her lips. Once, twice, thrice. He pushed in and kissed her for a long time. The sky started to turn white. Bai Ya leaned into his arms and looked at the sky. The red sun rose from the horizon. It dyed the surrounding clouds red and slowly jumped out of the water. What a beautiful, pure sunrise, Bai Ya exclaimed. Gu Lingqing chuckled. Bai Ya looked up at him. What are you laughing at? He lowered his head and kissed her. The sun is beautiful now because it's still far away from us. In fact, it's very dangerous to be baked at sea. After a day, your face will get sunburned. Yeah, Bai Ya replied. This was her first time drifting on the sea. She had watched a survival show before, but she had forgotten the details. Gu Lingqing pulled out a parasol from under the boat and opened it. You even have this? Bai Ya exclaimed. I think the owner of the boat used it to rest at the bow. I think it will be useful, so I took it. We'll go with the direction of the wind. Gu Lingqing fixed the parasol horizontally on the boat. Bai Ya helped. After he was done, he spread the net into the sea and put it away. When the net was put away, there were indeed fish. There were more than 10 of them. They were not big, just a little thicker than a thumb. Bai Ya was surprised. There are really fish? Gu Lingqing smiled. Later, I'll use a mineral water bottle to make distilled water. If it's successful, we won't die after floating on the sea for more than 10 days. More than 10 days? Bai Ya pondered. Gu Lingqing scratched her nose. What are you thinking about? Tomorrow's matter was too far away for her. She did not want to think about it anymore. Even if she only had more than 10 days to live, she wanted to spend it happily with him. What should we do with the fish? Eat it raw? Bai Ya asked. Gu Lingqing pulled out a large net bag from below. He opened the seal and took out 2 pots, a kitchen knife, and a chopping board. Bai Ya was surprised. You took everything? There are only 2 good pots. I wanted to take a few more, Gu Lingqing explained. Bai Ya smiled. Why do I feel like I can spend the rest of my life on this boat? You can think about it. Anyway, you're an obstetrician and you've delivered babies before. However, I'm worried that the boat is too small. We can have 1 or 2 babies, but if we have more, the boat won't be able to accommodate us, Gu Lingqing joked. Bai Ya smiled faintly. She knew that Gu Lingqing was joking. It was a sunny day now. When the storm came, it would not be easy for the 2 of them to survive. Gu Lingqing washed the fish. Let me do it. I'm good at this. You can catch more fish. It's just right for the pot. Catch more in case of emergencies, Bai Ya said as she took the kitchen knife from Gu Lingqing's hand. She cleaned the fish. Gu Lingqing kept catching fish. After 3 hours, the pot was full. Bai Ya washed the fish clean. However, she did not know how to eat it. It smelled fishy. Gu Lingqing glanced at Bai Ya and joked, If I knew, I would have brought some ginger, MSG, cooking wine, soy sauce and mustard. Bai Ya was amused by Gu Lingqing. Maybe the environment is not that bad. Maybe I'm not hungry enough. When I'm about to faint from hunger, I think I can even eat a pot, let alone raw fish. I've got an idea. Gu Lingqing poured all the washed fish into a plastic bag and put the pot under the sun. She looked at the sky. I think after an hour, the temperature of the pot will reach 60 degrees Celsius. It's still possible to roast the fish. Chapter 297. Oh right, you haven't slept since last night. Sleep for a while and I'll watch over you, Baya sat up and said. You didn't sleep last night either. I can stay up for a few days. You sleep first, Gu Lingqing said softly. I've been sleeping. You sleep. I want to enjoy the sea breeze and look at the blue sky and white clouds. Baya patted his leg. Gu Lingqing smiled. His eyes were filled with love. He didn't refuse anymore and lay down beside Baya. He put his right arm behind his head and didn't lean on Baya's leg. He was afraid that she would be tired. Baya looked at his strong facial features. When he was asleep, his lips were tightly pursed, like an elegant prince. God was actually kind to her. Although her life was short and she went through hardships, she was given such a good man. Gu Lingqing was too tired. Actually, after they separated, he had been insomnia and fell asleep soon. Baya looked at the blue sky and white clouds, enjoying the moment. After some time, she felt a little sleepy and closed her eyes. After some time, she smelled the delicious smell of grilled fish and opened her eyes. Gu Lingqing had grilled more than 10 fish and was almost done. Sorry, I fell asleep too, Baya apologized. It's okay, you didn't fall into the water, Gu Lingqing said with a smile and passed the pot to her. Try it. Baya smelled it. The fishy smell was much less. It was the natural smell of fish. She pinched a little and put it in her mouth. It's delicious. Seawater is salty. This kind of fish has its own taste and is high in minerals. Eat more. Gu Lingqing continued to grill. He didn't use a spatula and used a knife to turn the fish over. Baya was at the side, quietly deboning the fish. Gu Lingqing grilled half of the fish and prepared a lot of meat. Gu Lingqing didn't take it. He took another whole fish and ate it. All the bones here are deboned, Baya reminded. You eat. I'll do it myself. I'm done. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. She longed for him to eat the fish she had cooked. He ate the fish she had cooked. Baya showed a happy smile, and he also smiled with her. Don't give it to me. Eat it yourself. All right, Baya replied. After eating, Gu Lingqing threaded the rest of the fish with a thread and put it on the parasol. Firstly, it could dry in the sun, and secondly, it could block a little more sunlight. Previously, he used a few mineral water bottles to make distilled water. It was very easy to make. He took a mineral water bottle, cut off the head of the bottle according to the ratio of 1/3, and then inverted it into a 2/3 cup of mineral water. Then, he poured seawater into the 2/3 cup of mineral water. The bottom of the mineral water bottle was removed and placed on top of it in a sealed state. When the sun shone on the seawater in the mineral water bottle, the water would evaporate. If it couldn't get out, it would condense into distilled water and fall back down. Unfortunately, there was no ice, and he couldn't use fire. Otherwise, it would be easy to get the distilled water. Gu Lingqing looked at the distilled water he made, and then looked at the time on his watch. It had been more than 5 hours, and he had only made 1 bottle cap. It was too little. He could only take a sip a day. A normal person's intake of water was at least 1,200 milliliters a day. It was simply not enough. Xiaoya! Gu Lingqing called out, looking troubled. What's wrong? Well, if you want to go on a smuff, the thing we lack the most on the sea is water, Gu Lingqing explained implicitly. Baya instantly understood. She blushed and looked down. She had watched an adventure show before. The adventurer in the show was called Belle. He really ate everything. Deer feces, maggots on dead mice, and the placenta of animals that had started to rot. Before she even started to reach that kind of desperate situation, her stomach already felt uncomfortable. She lay on the wooden plank. Gu Lingqing could see the rejection in her heart. Drink some water first. We'll talk about it later. What time is it now? Baya changed the topic. Gu Lingqing looked at the time on his watch. 4:20 in the afternoon. Baya did not say anything. She looked at the sky in a daze. Gu Lingqing supported the side of her head with one hand. What are you thinking about? I planned a lot of things for me in the past, but the plans can't keep up with the changes. Now, we can't do anything. If we think too much, we will only get more and more irritated. Who knows, we might not live past a week. Baya sighed. If we can only live for a week, what do you want to do? Gu Lingqing asked seriously. Baya twitched the corner of her mouth. It seems like we can't do anything on the sea. I think it's good this way. Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and looked at her affectionately. At least we are together. There were a few times when I really wanted to kidnap you. Oh right, what did you promise Su Jiaran so that he would let me go? Baya looked at Gu Lingqing with many complicated thoughts flashing through her eyes. She did not want to tell him that she was infected with the virus. What if she was saved? What awaited Gu Lingqing was despair. He asked you to divorce me and marry Zhou Hailan, Baya said briefly. What else? Gu Lingqing did not believe it. Su Jiaran is the commander-in-chief. He specializes in investigating the private lives of the officials. He reports directly to the president, Baya explained. I know. I've always suspected that his identity isn't as simple as directly belonging to the president. It's just that he's very cautious in doing things, and I couldn't find any clues. In addition, you don't have to worry about Lu Shuang. I've already ordered them to immediately rescue Lu Shuang if they find him. Even if I am not there, they will rescue Lu Shuang. Baya breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you. I think there is no need to thank me between us, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Well, you sleep a little longer. I really won't sleep this time. We will take turns to stay up late. Baya sat up. Okay. Gu Lingqing lay down and closed his eyes to rest. Baya looked at the sea in a daze. When Gu Lingqing woke up again, the sun had already set. Are you hungry? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya shook his head. He did not want to talk because he was thirsty. He checked the fish on the parasol. It had been dried. Gu Lingqing handed the mineral water to Baya. Baya shook his head. He wanted to save as much water as possible. Drink it. It will rain tonight. We have enough water, but the wind and waves will be very strong. For safety, I will tie one of your hands to the plank. You will lie down close to the plank. Do you understand? Gu Lingqing said and closed the parasol. How do you know it will rain? Baya asked in confusion. Gu Lingqing pointed at the sky. It was very dark in the distance. Baya did not speak again. He was faintly afraid. Gu Lingqing tied the parasol under the plank. The other things were put in mesh bags or plastic bags and tied under the plank. He only put the empty mineral water bottle in one of the big pots. Chapter 298. With him around, there was nothing to be afraid of. If you fasten it for me, what about you? Baya was worried. I'll be fine. If the plank turns over, I'll have to adjust it in time, Gu Lingqing said thoughtfully. If the wind and waves are too strong, your swimming speed won't be able to keep up with the speed of the waves. Baya was worried. Without a plank, Gu Lingqing would die no matter how long she held her breath. I'll tie a very long rope to my hand. That way I won't fall into the sea. Gu Lingqing saw Baya's worry and comforted her. Can you fasten it firmly? Gu Lingqing smiled. Military buckles. The stronger the wind and waves, the more secure it is. How about the rope? Is it strong? These are specially used by fishermen. They are the strongest. Don't worry. It'll be fine, Gu Lingqing said firmly. Then hold my hand. No matter how strong the wind and waves are, we'll be together. Gu Lingqing liked what she said. No matter how strong the wind and waves are, we'll be together. The heavy rain came a little later than she had expected. The sea breeze came before the heavy rain, and it was stronger than she had imagined. She held Gu Lingqing's hand tightly while Gu Lingqing's other hand held the pot tightly. Don't worry about the pot. You're in danger, Baya said worriedly. We don't have enough water. This pot of water can last us for a few days. You don't want to drink it either, right? Gu Lingqing insisted. I don't care about anything else except your safety, Baya said. Because of what you said, I have to ensure our safety. I have a clear mind. Don't worry, Gu Lingqing promised. They floated in the wind and waves for more than half an hour before it started to rain heavily. Xiaoya, stick close to the plank. Don't move, Gu Lingqing reminded again. Baya stuck close to the wooden plank. His other hand grabbed the plank tightly. He closed his eyes and held Gu Lingqing's hand tightly with his other hand. The rain pattered on her body. It was very heavy, and soon, her hair was all wet. Gu Lingqing released her hand. Baya was startled when he saw Gu Lingqing half squatting and pouring rainwater into the pot. Baya was worried that he would be knocked down by the wind and waves, so she held his arm tightly. Gu Lingqing quickly filled the bottle and put it into the net bag. A strong wind came. He poured out the water in the pot and covered Baya's head with the pot. She lay down. The wooden planks were pushed to a very high height by the waves. Suddenly, they stopped and the splashing seawater hit them. It was very painful. For the time being, she still had her clothes to protect her. If Gu Lingqing gave her his clothes, he would be in more pain than her. At this moment, the words of concern were stuck in his throat. She couldn't protect him. The only thing she could do was not to be a burden to him anymore. The wooden planks passed through several peaks and then came down. She was really worried that the planks would fall apart. Fortunately, they didn't. She fainted a few times, but after a few seconds, she struggled to wake up. The heavy rain lasted for more than 3 hours. When the wind and waves subsided, Gu Lingqing used the pot to catch some rainwater. "What time is it?" Baya asked. She was exhausted. Gu Lingqing looked at the time on his watch. "It's 1:45. The rain has passed. The wind and waves won't come again for a while. You go to sleep first. I'll keep watch." Baya actually had a lot to say, but she couldn't take it anymore and fainted. After some time, she heard the crisp sound of seagulls and opened her eyes. Gu Lingqing sat on the wooden plank and looked at the flying seagulls thoughtfully. Baya sat up and asked, "If there are seagulls, does it mean that there are islands, beaches, reefs or ports nearby?" The possibility of a port is relatively small, but there should be islands or reefs. Gu Lingqing also analyzed and looked around. "Thank God. It's good that there's an island," Baya muttered to herself. She couldn't bear the heavy rain that lasted more than 3 hours. If a storm came, they would definitely not be able to survive the wind and rain. Gu Lingqing analyzed the direction of the seagulls. "If we go with the wind, we will definitely miss the island." He immediately took out the parasol and faced it at a 45-degree angle towards the wind. Baya didn't understand these things. She just helped him to hold the parasol handle. "Do you want to rest?" Baya was worried that he would not be able to take it. Gu Lingqing shook his head. "Under normal circumstances, we can reach the island within an hour. It's the most dangerous before we reach the island. Other than the waves, there are sometimes undercurrents. If it's not a beach, it might be a cliff. We can't go up, and it's fatal." It was her first time wandering on the sea. She could only trust Gu Lingqing. The wooden boat sailed for more than half an hour. Baya really saw an island in the distance. She said excitedly, "Gu Lingqing, look, there's an island. It doesn't look small." "Have you heard of the Lost Kingdom?" Gu Lingqing asked. Baya didn't understand. What did he mean by saying this at this time? In the past there was a country. This country was rich in resources and medicinal herbs. However, one day, the sea level rose by a few hundred meters. The island was submerged. None of the people on the island survived. After 100 years, the island surfaced again, but it was already an uninhabited island. After another 100 years, the island was submerged again and again. Gu Lingqing explained. "You mean that the island in front is the Lost Kingdom you mentioned?" Baya was shocked. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. "I just want to tell you this story. Whether the island will be submerged or not, we'll know once we reach the island." As they got closer to the island, Gu Lingqing adjusted the angle of the parasol. "Xiaoya, we'll reach the island in about 10 minutes. The beach on the uninhabited island might be fake. It'll collapse. Don't get off the wooden plank," Gu Lingqing reminded her. "Then what about you?" Baya asked worriedly. Gu Lingqing nodded and glanced at the parasol. "I won't get off the plank. I'll just use this. Do you need me to do anything?" "Yes." Gu Lingqing scooped up all the things hanging under the wooden plank. He placed them on the plank and tied them together. "Look after these things." As they neared the beach, The waves felt bigger than when they were on a calm sponge. When the last wave pushed the plank to the beach, Gu Lingqing used the parasol's strength to push the plank to the dry beach. Baya saw many crabs running around. Crabs. Can these crabs be caught and eaten? Baya was surprised. Of course. However, we'd better build a habitable house on high ground as soon as possible. Gu Lingqing said solemnly. He added, there's wolf feces on the ground. The good news is that this island won't be silent. The bad news is that there are wolves around here. Baya's relaxed mood tensed up again. Chapter 299. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing worriedly. She was not afraid of death, but she was afraid that Gu Lingqing would die. He was already a general at such a young age with outstanding military achievements and a powerful background. He might even become the president in a few years. Because of saving her, he became food for the wolves in the wilderness. It was a little pitiful. Gu Lingqing saw Baya's worry and gently rubbed her cheek. Don't worry. The wolves don't come here every day. We will be fine. Trust me, Gu Lingqing promised. Baya nodded. It was useless for her to be worried. Do you know where this island is? I don't know. There are many islands on the sea, and there are also many islands that no one cares about, especially in the deep sea. Most people will not come here. Even if it is used for military purposes, they will choose a place with convenient geographical conditions. There are no human footprints on the beach here, Gu Lingqing said. He looked around, picked up one of the net bags, and poured out the pot inside. There was a kitchen knife, a dagger, a handgun, and a magazine in the pot. Can your gun still be used? Baya asked, looking at Gu Lingqing with hope. If they had guns, she would feel much safer. Yes. If you are afraid that it can't be used, you can dry it. There are a total of 20 bullets in case of emergencies. What we need to do now is to choose a safe place to sleep. Gu Lingqing threw the dagger to Baya and took the gun and the kitchen knife. When he was about to leave, he looked at the soaked fish. It was dry and smelled. It should still be edible. Xiaoya, dig a hole here. It doesn't need to be too deep, about 10 centimeters. I will pick some leaves and bring it over, Gu Lingqing said. Baya held his hand. I will go with you. Okay. Gu Lingqing wrapped the fish with 4 big leaves. Baya dug the hole. Gu Lingqing put the fish in and covered it with sand. Let's go. Baya followed Gu Lingqing into the forest. Because it was an uninhabited area, the trees grew wildly. They were densely packed, and most of them had large leaves. Gu Lingqing went in while chopping. Baya was helping her from behind, dealing with the fish that had escaped the net. Gu Lingqing chopped out a 1-meter wide and 10-meter long area. He stopped and looked at a tree. What's wrong? Baya asked confusedly. Gu Lingqing twitched the corner of his mouth. Even if we don't have guns, we won't be afraid of beasts. Why? This kind of tree is called poison arrow wood. It's the poison mentioned in Wuxia novels. Tomorrow, we'll make some bows and arrows. With this, my archery skills will be the best in my army, Gu Lingqing said confidently. Baya smiled. I have a feeling that we can live in the deep forest for the rest of our lives. Gu Lingqing scratched Baya's nose. If you're accidentally poisoned by the poison arrow wood, the grass below will help you detoxify. Baya sighed. Nature really does counteract each other. Gu Lingqing looked around and pointed at a big tree. We'll set up camp on this tree. Baya looked up. The branches and leaves of the tree were too dense. Will there be snakes up there? Snakes go up to look for food. As long as we clean it, snakes are timid animals and won't come up, Gu Lingqing explained. He quickly climbed up. His posture was strong and his speed was fast. Baya saw him chopping off the extra branches. She couldn't help. She saw a dead plant not far away. It had a lot of fibers. She wanted to tear it into silk and make a rope, so she chopped it down and threw it under the tree. An hour later, Gu Lingqing had chopped off the extra branches on the 2 trees next to each other. He jumped down from the tree. Baya looked at the tree. Is it too high? It doesn't feel stable. I don't know how to climb trees. Don't worry about that. I'll make a ladder. When the ladder is done, the bark of the tree will fall off. Without the bark, the tree will be smoother. Beasts and the like won't be able to climb up, Gu Lingqing explained. Are we going to move the wooden planks over now? Baya asked. Yes. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked. Baya felt the heat in his rough palms. Her body felt warm too. She hoped that there would be a boat passing by and rescue him. They moved the wooden planks under the tree and split up. Gu Lingqing chose 8 big branches. Baya helped to clean up the side branches. The 2 trees he chose were facing each other. There were a total of 5 big branches, but they were not at the same height. Gu Lingqing first tied the 8 big branches to the 5 big branches to form a balanced plane. Baya thought it was amazing. You should be a master architect. When my brothers and I went on a mission, we built a simple bed like this in the forest. There's nothing else. We were lucky enough to have wooden planks, so this bed should be quite comfortable, Gu Lingqing said with a smile. Baya thought about sleeping on the same bed with him tonight. She had a strange feeling in her heart. She didn't have this feeling when she was floating on the sea. She lowered her head and continued to weave the rope. Gu Lingqing jumped down from the tree and tied the rope to the middle of the wooden bed. What's wrong? Baya asked, puzzled. You can't lift this wooden plank later. I'll pull it from the top, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya nodded. The position Gu Lingqing chose was too high. It was more than 3 meters high. She was 165 centimeters higher. The width of the bed was 1.6 meters and the length was 1.8 meters. She had to lift it to the top of her head. She probably didn't have enough strength. Gu Lingqing climbed up first. Baya used all her strength. Gu Lingqing pulled the rope and finally put the first wooden plank on the top. He placed it firmly. He even built a 25-degree tilt. Gu Lingqing jumped down from the tree and looked at the time. It was already 12:20 in the afternoon. Are you hungry? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya nodded. In fact, her stomach was growling an hour ago. Our fish should be almost ready. Let's go, Gu Lingqing said. Baya looked at the beach. Panic flashed in her eyes. She pointed at the beach. What's that black thing? Gu Lingqing followed Baya's gaze and looked over. The corner of her lips curled up slightly. Xiaoya, we're lucky. God sent us food so quickly. That's a wild boar. Gu Lingqing ran over excitedly. Be careful, Baya said worriedly. Gu Lingqing ran over. The wild boar was eating their fish. It heard the noise and turned around. Gu Lingqing took the opportunity to shoot. The bullet was fired at the wild boar's head. The wild boar swayed a few times and fell to the ground, motionless. Baya looked at the wild boar on the ground. Although she had eaten pork before, she had never killed a pig. Do you know how to kill a pig? Baya asked Gu Lingqing. Chapter 300. Gu Lingqing was going to skin the wild boar at the beach, because he was worried that the smell of blood would attract more wild beasts. Baya moved a lot of stones and stacked them together. On one side, they could block the sea breeze and make a fire. On the other side they could put a pot. Because it rained last night, many dead trees and leaves were not dry. She carried some and put them on the beach to dry. Gu Lingqing was afraid that she would get sunburned, so he gave her the umbrella to use. He also made a tool to drill wood to make a fire. The way to make it was to drill 2 holes in the wood and put the rope that Baya made into it. Using the principle of rotation, Baya only needed to pull the rope, and the wood would spin quickly. This method was faster than using the palm of the hand, and it was also less laborious. Baya was lucky. It took her more than an hour to make the fire. She looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing chopped off the wild boar's head and let the blood out. All the blood was put into the pot and poured into the sea. He did not know how to deal with the wild boar's head, so he put it in a plastic bag and prepared to find a place to bury it later. Baya walked towards him. Gu Lingqing cut open the wild boar's stomach, and there were a lot of messy things inside. Why don't we just eat the meat and throw away the messy things inside? I don't eat animal organs, Gu Lingqing said to Baya. Baya glanced at Gu Lingqing. She knew how to deal with it, but without cooking wine and ginger, these things would probably be very smelly and would not be able to eat. Okay, Baya replied. Gu Lingqing put all the internal organs together with the boar's head. Well, we need suet, so that we can cook it. Maybe there will be wild vegetables. By the way, keep the pig's heart, Baya said again. Gu Lingqing. Baya realized that she had gone back on her words, so she was a little embarrassed and smiled dryly. It was already 15 o'clock in the afternoon when Gu Lingqing dealt with the wild boar. Baya went to boil the lard in the wok. Gu Lingqing cut the meat from the wild boar leg into slices for easy stir-frying. They had a pot, oil and salt, but no spatula. Baya took a branch and stir-fried it. At 16 o'clock, they finally ate the meat. Let's go pick up more dead wood later. The sun will set in 1 to 2 hours. I'm afraid that it won't dry out, so we have to keep the fire burning throughout the night. On one hand, it will provide light, and on the other hand, it will allow us to see ships passing by at night, said Baya. Let's just make do with the first day. We'll be able to prepare more things tomorrow. Baya nodded. Gu Lingqing wrapped the rest of the wild boar meat in a plastic bag and put it on their wooden bed. When they went to the forest to pick up the dead wood, Gu Lingqing brought back the plastic bag containing the wild boar's head, skin, and internal organs. It was very early in the forest. At 16:45 o'clock, there was no light coming in. They did not dare to go too deep. They walked along the beach. When they were about 2 kilometers away, they saw a bamboo forest. Gu Lingqing, look, there's bamboo. Dead bamboo is easier to catch fire than wood, said Baya excitedly. Let's go. Gu Lingqing held her hand and ran. Baya picked up the dead wood and tied it up with a rope. Gu Lingqing used the bamboo to dig a hole 30 centimeters deep and buried the wild boar in the plastic bag. When they went back, Gu Lingqing chopped the thickest bamboo. Baya dug up 6 fresh small bamboos, and each of them carried a bundle of bamboos back. The sun slowly went down. The sky was bright red, and the scenery was particularly beautiful. The sea breeze blowing on their faces was particularly comfortable. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing's resolute and cold side profile, and the corner of her mouth slightly raised. If she didn't only have a month to live, she really wanted to live with him on the island for the rest of her life. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya and caught her gaze. Baya lowered his head guiltily, and his eyes flickered. Gu Lingqing chuckled. Are you going to shower later? Yes. Nowadays, there's a treatment called sea bathing. Seawater contains a lot of minerals such as potassium, sodium, magnesium, sulfur, etc. It can also kill bacteria. Many people use sea bathing to treat skin diseases, weight loss, and beauty. It's said that the fees are very high. Now that I'm here, it's free of charge. Baya amused himself. Said, I'll give it a try later. Make sure where you can go. Bathing in the sea is good, but it's also very risky. Many people die from swimming in the sea every year, Gu Lingqing said worriedly. Yes. They arrived at the previous place. Baya spread out the bamboo. Although the sun had gone down, the sea breeze could take away the humidity. The bamboo was flammable, so they could use it tonight. However, they might have to come out in the middle of the night to add it a few times. Gu Lingqing went into the water first. He took off his coat and pants, revealing his strong body. Although they had done it many times, she still felt embarrassed. He didn't look at her anymore, and went to move a lot of stones over to strengthen the wind wall. Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing walked towards her with a net bag. Baya saw that there were many crabs, sea urchins, abalones, and sea cucumbers in the net bag. This place hasn't been developed, so it's rich in resources. There are so many things underneath. I've picked up so many in a short while. We'll have supper tonight, Gu Lingqing said with a smile, and poured all the things into the pot. Baya was also surprised. She had wanted to spend a holiday by the sea a long time ago. She wanted to enjoy the sea breeze and eat seafood leisurely, without being disturbed by the secular world. Now it had come true, but in such an unintentional way. There's not much fresh water left. Let's use seawater to cook it. After a while, it should be ready to eat, Baya said happily. Okay, I'll cook it. You go take a bath first. You can only swim 20 meters at most. Don't go too far. It's dangerous when it gets dark. Gu Lingqing took another pot and went to the seaside to scoop up water. He took out the sea urchins, sea cucumbers, and abalones, and specially cooked the crabs. Baya took off her coat and pants and went to swim. She only swam for 5 minutes and came back. She didn't have any physical strength. If she swam too much, she was afraid that it would be dangerous. Gu Lingqing had already broken the sea urchin. It was the first time that Baiya saw this kind of fresh sea urchin. There were 5 small pieces of something that looked like yellow in it. This can be eaten raw. Do you want to eat it? Gu Lingqing passed the broken sea urchin to Baiya. Baiya took the sea urchin and sat on the stone next to him. She ate a little. It was sticky and a little sweet, but she wasn't used to it. She passed the sea urchin to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing ate all the yellow stuff in one gulp. He ate the remaining 3. Baiya saw that he didn't have any strange expression. Is it delicious? Yes, it's quite sweet, Gu Lingqing replied. Then you should eat more. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya. Do you know the effects of sea urchins? Seafood and the like are very high in minerals. It's probably calcium and zinc supplements, Baiya guessed. Sea urchins contain a lot of structural proteins that are unique to the sex glands of animals, such as lecithin. It's a bioactive substance with male hormones. It can improve one's X function and intelligence, increase immunity, lower cholesterol, prevent animal sclerosis, and has a very good aphrodisiac effect, Gu Lingqing explained. He explained. He said a lot more after that, but Baiya didn't hear it clearly. She only remembered. Improving one's X function. She cleared her throat awkwardly, turned her face away, and drank some water. Chapter 301. Baiya was very nervous. Well, the best things should be done in moderation. Things will go in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Gu Lingqing chuckled and teased. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid that I'll eat you? Well. Baiya drew circles with the branch casually. I'm a little tired today. Gu Lingqing laughed even more happily. What are you thinking about? Baiya looked at him. Don't you think it's inappropriate for us to wear wet clothes? It's still a little cold at night by the sea. Gu Lingqing said again. Baiya. Hee, it's not like I haven't seen it before. Gu Lingqing, who had relaxed, had a wanton smile on his face. Baiya felt even more awkward. Forget it for today. I'll use the leaves to make a grass skirt and quilt tomorrow. Gu Lingqing didn't make things difficult for Baiya. He laid on the beach comfortably and looked at the stars in the sky. The stars here are very bright. I still remember that I loved to watch stars when I was young. The sky was full of stars at that time. Now, it's rare to see a sky full of stars. Baiya lay down beside Gu Lingqing. The industrial pollution is very obvious. Many cities have smog. So the seaside, especially the undeveloped seaside, is like a paradise on earth. Gu Lingqing hugged Baiya's shoulder. Promise me, even if we're saved from here, we'll never be separated. Baiya was silent. The silence made Gu Lingqing flustered. He looked at Baiya. Baiya responded. His kiss landed on Baiya's forehead. He got up and started cutting the new bamboo. What are you doing? Baiya asked confusedly and sat up. Making a ladder. This bamboo is 10 meters tall. I will first cut out 2 sections that are about 4 meters tall. Every 50 centimeters, I will make a hole and insert the bamboo pieces into it. Then, I can make a ladder. As Gu Lingqing spoke, he worked at the same time. First, he compared 2 sections of bamboo to make a mark at the same height. He split the remaining 2 meters of bamboo from the middle. It was cut into 7 sections, each about 3 centimeters long. Because the higher it was, the thinner the bamboo was, and the bamboo pieces were of different sizes. Therefore, the size of each hole had to be the same as the bamboo piece. Baiya helped Gu Lingqing with it. Gu Lingqing was afraid that Baiya would cut his hand because it was a slow work and required a certain amount of strength. Use the remaining bamboo to make 2 pairs of chopsticks. That way, I won't have to worry about getting scalded. Okay. Baiya used the remaining bamboo to make 4 pairs of chopsticks and a spatula. Gu Lingqing looked at the chopsticks made by Baiya and laughed. Are the extra chopsticks prepared for the guests? Baiya also thought this sentence was quite funny, so he laughed too. Or are you preparing it for our children? It seems a little early to make it for our children. Gu Lingqing joked. She didn't know whether it was because of the fire or because Baiya was shy, but her face was red. She looked very beautiful without any makeup. I'm afraid that I'll lose a pair. We still have a spare pair. Buyer explained. And look, the crabs seem to be cooked. Gu Lingqing reminded. Baya used the chopsticks to pick up the crabs. Because the head was too big and asymmetrical, it was a little difficult to pick up the crabs. It turned out that making chopsticks was also a technical work. She finally picked up 2 crabs and put them on the big leaves to cool for a while. Then, she used a dagger to cut the bamboo to improve the size of her chopsticks. She ground the 2 sides of the chopsticks so that the chopsticks could be combined. Then, she slowly shrunk the 2 ends so that it would be easier to pick up the crabs. Eat it first. Is it delicious? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya broke open the crabs and drank the gravy inside. It was salty and very delicious. She gave a thumbs up. It's very delicious, but I'm worried that we won't have enough fresh water. Don't worry. We have a pot and seawater. We can still make distilled water. We can also look for fresh water when we go out to look for wild vegetables tomorrow morning. When we're free, we can dig a few ponds to store water. Gu Lingqing said. We have bamboo shoots in the morning. It's wild pork stew with bamboo shoots. Let's go out after breakfast. As Baya spoke, she peeled a crab foot and put it in front of Gu Lingqing's mouth. Don't peel it for me. Eat it yourself. Gu Lingqing felt sorry for her hands. Then don't cook first. Eat a crab. There are so many here. We can't finish it. Gu Lingqing looked at the time. She washed her hands with seawater and sat next to Baya to eat the crab. Baya listened to the whistling sea breeze and the sound of the waves hitting the rocks. If she thought of it as a holiday instead of being stranded on a deserted island, it felt pretty good. Gu Lingqing ate a crab and started to make a ladder. Baya ate too. She broke the abalone and cut it into thin slices. She put it in the pot and scalded it. Then, she put it in her mouth. It was very delicious. Try this. Baya picked up a small piece and scalded it in the pot. Then, she handed it to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing ate it. It's really not bad. I guess the chef in the restaurant can only cook like this. The difference is that what we eat is the freshest. Yes. You can't buy the freshest. She and Gu Lingqing ate the abalone. Baya also cut the sea cucumber into thin slices. Did you notice that abalone and sea cucumber taste almost the same? Just like all kinds of shellfish, they taste almost the same. Baya asked. There are still some differences. For example, the meat of scallops is cylindrical. When you eat it, it tastes more chewy. Oysters are soft, like a piece of fat that will melt in your mouth. As for clams, they are bigger and have more edible parts. Razor clams are also different. Gu Lingqing said seriously. I feel like you are a gourmet expert. Baya said casually. In fact, today is the day I eat the most, Gu Lingqing replied. You also ate a lot when you were near my school last time. Baya reminded. But not as much as today. I ate a pork leg, right? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya smiled. I think so. By the way, we can probably eat the extra pork for more than a week. Tomorrow, don't eat the other 3 legs. Wrap them in salt and put them under the sun. They won't go bad for a few months. Baya paused after saying that. A few months. She couldn't live that long. If she died, Gu Lingqing would be the only one on the island. If that happened, he would be too pitiful. What are you thinking? Why don't you say it? Gu Lingqing looked at her. Baya came back to her senses and continued. I think we can eat the spare ribs tomorrow. We might as well stew it in a big pot. It can last us for a whole day. Chapter 302. They were eating, chatting, and working at the same time. Before they knew it, it was already 11:15 at night. Gu Lingqing finished climbing the ladder. Baya glanced at the direction of the bed. It was very dark inside. It looked bottomless, as if it was filled with unknown terrifying power. It's very dark, Baya said worriedly. Don't worry. Gu Lingqing poured lard on the thicker rope that Baya made, tied it to a wooden stick, and put it on the fire. A torch was soon made. He carried the ladder and walked in the front, holding a kitchen knife in the other hand. Baya held the torch in one hand and their parasol in the other. He went back to their bed. Previously, Gu Lingqing had cut a path that was 1 meter wide and 10 meters long. The ground was clean and tidy. First, if they saw a wild animal, they could climb to the bed as fast as possible. Second, if there was a boat passing by, they could also see it. Thirdly, they had to avoid starting a fire if they were carrying a torch. When they reached the bed, Gu Lingqing first tried the chair. It was very solid. He put the parasol on it and looked at the pork on the bed. He was not used to sleeping with pork in his arms. "Xiaoya, we need to go back to the beach and hide our pork under the stone house," Gu Lingqing said. "Yes, not only that, I think we should move some stones here and make a fire here. Otherwise, the torch won't be easy to fix. Besides, I'm afraid the torch won't last until dawn." "I'm afraid of the dark," Baiya said apologetically. "Okay. Let's go," Gu Lingqing answered without hesitation. He led the pork down. They returned to the beach. Fortunately, Baiya had moved a lot of stones here, so it didn't take long to make a stone house. They carried a lot of stones back to the bed and formed a circle. Fortunately, there was enough bamboo. They lit the fire again and lay on the bed. It was already 1 o'clock in the morning. But Baiya still couldn't sleep. She heard the sizzling sound of the fire mixed with the sound of insects. When she opened her eyes, she saw the darkness around her. She felt that there were eyes watching them in the dark. In a daze, worried and scared, she even got up to stoke the fire 5 or 6 times. She only fell asleep when the sky was just beginning to brighten. After a long time, she woke up. Seeing that Gu Lingqing was not beside her, she panicked and ran to the beach, shouting, Gu Lingqing, where are you? Gu Lingqing?" She ran to the beach and smelled the aroma of pork and bamboo shoots. Gu Lingqing had raised a stone and a pot of pork and bamboo shoots was boiling on it. Beside the stone house, there were 24 bamboo, some cellulosic trunks and leaves. But there was no sign of Gu Lingqing. "Was Gu Lingqing?" Baiya shouted. She looked around, but there was still no sign of Gu Lingqing. She ran towards the small bamboo forest that she had been to yesterday. From afar, she saw Gu Lingqing coming over with bamboo on his shoulders. From afar, she saw Gu Lingqing carrying bamboo on his shoulders. Gu Lingqing was sweating profusely, but his tone was gentle. "You're awake? If you wake up and see that I'm not here, stay on the tree. It's too dangerous." "Why didn't you wake me up? You've been busy the whole morning, haven't you?" Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing with heartache. Gu Lingqing put 2 pieces of tree bark on his shoulders to reduce the friction of the bamboo on his shoulders. This man was very smart. He was very adaptable in the wild. "You didn't sleep last night, right? I didn't have the heart to wake you up. Today, I used these bamboos to seal up the place where we sleep, so you won't feel afraid." Gu Lingqing looked at her tenderly and said with a smile. That smile was too beautiful. She didn't dare to look at it. She was afraid that if she looked at it too long, she wouldn't want to die. She lowered her eyes. "Thank you. You're my woman. It's my duty to take care of you," Gu Lingqing said naturally. Baiya looked at him. "Let me help you carry too." "It's okay. You'll have to weave a lot of ropes later and deal with the pork from yesterday. You'll be busy." Gu Lingqing didn't want her to do any heavy work. They returned to the stone house. Gu Lingqing cut a bamboo in half and carried it to the bed. He compared it to the sun and came back with the umbrella. Baiya cut a bamboo in half and made it into a simple bowl. She put some bamboo shoots and pork into soup and put it aside to cool. Gu Lingqing held the umbrella and said, "I compared it. Our wooden bed is 1.6 meters wide. The diameter of the thick end is about 16 centimeters, and the thin end is about 10 centimeters. So, we'll use 11 thick parts for the width of the bed. The bed is 1.8 meters long, so we'll use 19 thin parts. There's a total of 30 bamboos here. They're 10 meters long. We can also split the bamboos and use them. Won't you cut too much?" Baiya asked in confusion. "The place we live in needs to be sturdy. We'll use the whole bamboo. We'll build a house on this beach to put our ingredients or a place to rest. That way, we won't have to worry about the rain," Gu Lingqing explained. Baiya nodded. It was definitely a good idea to prepare for a rainy day. She passed the bowl to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing took it. She started eating too. The wild boar was natural. It didn't grow up on fodder. The bamboo shoots didn't have any pesticides or growth hormones. It was especially delicious. Gu Lingqing came out early in the morning to stew the pork. It was already 12:15 a.m. The pork was stewed very soft and tender. It melted in the mouth. It's delicious. Baya couldn't help but exclaim. Gu Lingqing smiled dotingly. Eat more if it's delicious. You're too skinny. I haven't gained weight in the past 27 years. If I get fat on a deserted island, it'll be a joke, Baya teased herself. There's a lot of resources here. There's a lot of seafood and game. It's all natural. There's no one fighting with us for food. I think we'll really get fat. Heh, don't look down on me if I get fat. Baya went along with his topic and joked. Your position in my heart will be proportional to the increase of your weight. Gu Lingqing said with a deadpan expression. Baya smiled. Then how light is my position in your heart now? It means that you still have a lot of potential. Baya replied. She lowered her head and ate the wild boar meat stew with bamboo shoots. Gu Lingqing heard the disappointment in her tone. He guessed that the joke was over. He asked carefully, Are you angry? Baya shook her head. No, I want to eat as much as possible. I don't want it to affect my weight gain. Gu Lingqing smiled. Don't worry. Even if you don't gain weight, your position in my heart is already not light. She knew that. She took the bowl from his hand, scooped another bowl and passed it to him. You happen to not be heavy in my heart. Eat more, dear. Chapter 303. That's not what she meant by kiss. Gu Lingqing did it on purpose. She didn't want to answer him. Let's hurry up. It'll be terrible if it rains tonight. Gu Lingqing nodded and said thoughtfully, It's good if it rains. There's no fresh water, and we can have a good rest. Didn't you say you were very tired before? Baya's face became hot. He wanted to have sex with her before, but she said she was tired and refused. She cleared her throat. Stop joking. Eat more quickly. You work a lot. If you don't eat more, you'll lose weight. Then, you'll be less important in my heart. Baya stopped this topic. Gu Lingqing scratched her nose. He knew that Baya was thin-skinned, so he didn't tease her. He ate. After eating, Baya went to wash the dishes. Gu Lingqing cut the bamboo into 2 sections that were 3.5 meters long and dug a hole. After digging about 2 meters, he saw the soil. He dug another 50 centimeters into the soil and inserted the bamboo into it. Then he covered it with soil and stepped on it firmly. Then he filled it with sand again. In this way the 1.5-meter-long bamboo trunk was exposed. Baya came back after washing the dishes and helped Gu Lingqing. At a place about 1.2 meters away from Gu Lingqing's bamboo trunk, Baya also dug a hole. Gu Lingqing finished his side and took over Baya's work. He said, Leave this rough work to me. You go and weave the rope. The more the better. The stronger the rope, the better. Okay. Baya sat under the parasol to weave the rope. She drank a big mouthful of water and found that there were only 4 bottles of mineral water. Gu Lingqing finished the bamboo trunk and walked over. He took the bottle from Baya's hand and drank it. Gu Lingqing, our fresh water may be finished today. Baya reminded him. Don't worry, I'll come over right now. Gu Lingqing took out the simple distilled water bottle that he had made on the sea before, and broke the middle of the distilled water bottle with a piece of bamboo. He clamped the middle of the bottle filled with seawater and placed it 5 centimeters away from the fire. Keep an eye on the amount of seawater in the mineral water. It can't be too little. If it's too little, the bottle will be set on fire, Gu Lingqing reminded. I understand. Baya nodded. While weaving the rope, she looked at the mineral water bottle on the fire. Gu Lingqing cut a small hole at the top of the 1.5-meter-long bamboo pole, inserted the rope into the hole, and then wound it around the bamboo pole, forming a dead knot. You can hang the meat now. It's done here too. Baya took down the bamboo pole with the mineral water bottle. Don't touch it yet. It's very hot. Put it aside and let it cool, Gu Lingqing reminded. Baya looked at the inside of the mineral water bottle. It was very fast to make distilled water in this way. The inverted 1/3 of the mineral water bottle was already 2/3 full. Although the process of making water was more troublesome, she was not afraid of running out of water. While she was cooling the mineral water bottle, she went to deal with the pork. She pierced a hole in the pork leg with a dagger, threaded the rope into it, and hung it on the clothesline. Gu Lingqing didn't continue to cut the bamboo. Instead, he took out the fishing net and used the rope to surround it, making it into the shape of a pocket. Baya continued to weave the rope. I'll put the fishing net at the bottom of the sea and come out like this in 10 minutes. Put the gun on you to protect yourself, Gu Lingqing said. Okay, be careful, Baya said. Gu Lingqing nodded. He moved a big stone and put it in the fishing net, and then put a piece of pork rib in the fishing net. He didn't take off his clothes and went into the sea with the fishing net. Baya poured out the distilled water, continued to make distilled water, and weaved the rope. About 8 minutes later, Gu Lingqing came out of the sea. He took off his coat and pants, and hung them on the clothesline, revealing his strong chest and 8 chocolate-like abdominal muscles. She felt that he seemed to be stronger than before. Gu Lingqing looked at her. She cleared her throat. Do you want to eat fish tonight? We might not even finish this pot of pork stewed with bamboo shoots. I'll fix up our small house first. If there's time, I want to dig a pond and pour the seawater into it. We can raise fish or something. Gu Lingqing let his mind wander. There's no need to raise fish. You can catch fish every day. If you can't finish them, I can wash them, dry them, and store them. Baya suggested. That's good. Anyway, there should be fresh fish every day. Tomorrow, we'll go to the forest to find some plants to remove the smell. Gu Lingqing said and began to cut the bamboo. Do you know them? Are there many plants in the forest that are poisonous? Baya did not know them, so she asked worriedly. When we carried out missions in the forest before, we didn't bring any rations with us. We got the materials locally, and there were experts following us. So, I know what we can eat and what we can't eat. Don't worry. Gu Lingqing comforted her. Baya chuckled. I have a feeling that I'll be able to live well if I follow you. So, you have to follow me. Gu Lingqing said with a smile. Baya's eyes flashed, and she nodded. I'll follow you for as long as I'm alive. Silly girl. Gu Lingqing said lovingly. The smile on his face was indeed happy, relaxed, and joyful. He cut the tree into 5-meter-long pieces, put the thick pieces together, and put the thin pieces together. He began to tie them. When he was done, 4 hours had passed. Baya made a lot of ropes, and in 4 hours, he made 3 bottles of distilled water. She felt uncomfortable in her stomach. She had a bad feeling. In the past, her period had always been irregular. It would come once every 2 to 3 months, and it would hurt badly every time. She might have her period soon, and there were no sanitary products here. She thought of many ways, such as using leaves or ropes to weave. The ancient people seemed to have used charcoal ash, which could absorb water. What are you weaving? Gu Lingqing walked over. Baya blushed. Some necessities. Come over and take a look at our hut, Gu Lingqing said. Then, he turned around and walked towards the hut. Baya held Gu Lingqing's hand, and realized that something was wrong. She opened his palm, and it was full of blisters. Some of them were already broken. You can't work anymore today. They're all broken. Don't you want your hand anymore? Baya said worriedly. Don't worry. It's like this because I haven't worked for a long time. In the future, these blisters will have calluses. If I work again, it won't hurt anymore. Gu Lingqing smiled and comforted him. Then let's wait for the blisters to subside before we work again. What if my hand has a fever? There's no hospital here. Anyway, you're not allowed to work today. Tomorrow, we'll go to the mountains to find some wild vegetables, pork, and seafood. We can eat it for more than 10 days. Baya's heart ached. She blew on his palm. Gu Lingqing gazed at her. As long as he was with her, this pain was sweet in his heart. Chapter 304. I'll listen to you. Come, take a look at our home, Gu Lingqing said with a smile. Hearing the word home, Baya paused. She had always longed for a home, so when she heard the word home, She felt especially warm. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked. Baya saw their house. Gu Lingqing blocked 3 sides of the house with bamboo and covered it with a bamboo roof, facing the sea. The bamboo ladder was placed at the edge, and he moved the stones under the house. Even if it rained, it would not get wet. I'll use the bamboo to make 2 doors later. When we sleep, it will be in a sealed state, Gu Lingqing imagined. I'll do it. Your hand must rest today, Baya said forcefully. He did not want her to do the manual work. How about we replace the door with a wooden plank today, and I'll do it tomorrow? I'm not waiting for you to do it tomorrow. I'm waiting for your hand to recover, Baya corrected. Okay. Gu Lingqing nodded. There will probably be more mosquitoes next month, but it's okay. We can definitely finish the hut in a month. Gu Lingqing was completely in the mode of a wife-doting maniac. Baya frowned slightly. Yes, there would be more mosquitoes in a month. When she passed away, Gu Lingqing still had to survive. She had to do more work. Let's go to the beach. It's time for dinner. After dinner, go down and see if there are any fish in the net, Baya said. Okay. They returned to the beach. After dinner, Gu Lingqing ate up all the pork-stewed bamboo shoots in the pot, and went down to the sea. She had to make more dried fish to ensure that Gu Lingqing could eat it for a long time. That way, even if no one passed by, Gu Lingqing would make a sturdy bamboo raft to leave. She sat down and used a wide fiber to weave a bag. She weaved it quickly, and in 10 minutes, she finished it. Gu Lingqing emerged from the sea and walked with difficulty. Baya ran over worriedly. What's wrong? Are you hurt? Gu Lingqing smiled. How is that possible? There are too many fish, prawns and crabs, so it took a lot of effort. Baya looked at the fishing net in the water and really saw the densely packed fish. Gu Lingqing passed the net port to Baya. Hold the opening tightly. Baya held the opening tightly while Gu Lingqing carried the stone. Baya saw a lot of fish jumping around inside. Is it 100 Jin? Baya asked in surprise. Gu Lingqing nodded. More or less. I think you'll be busy today. I'll help you kill the fish later. It won't take too much effort. No, these seafood have a lot of viruses on them. Some parts of your palm are injured. There was once a scientist who killed fish, but his wound got infected and he died. Leave the killing to me. We still have half of the spare ribs. Do you want to continue stewing the spare ribs and bamboo shoots? We can eat it tomorrow. Baya said firmly. Gu Lingqing was helpless. I've been eating stewing ribs and bamboo shoots for the whole day. No matter how delicious it is, I'm sick of it. I'll bring you to dig some wild vegetables tomorrow. How about this? We'll dry all the pork legs. You can cut off all the fat from the pig and boil the oil. I'll marinate the rest of the spare ribs, spine, and lean meat with salt. This way, it can be eaten for more than 10 days without spoiling. Gu Lingqing nodded. All right, I'll boil the oil. Baya was relieved. The cleaver was blunt after cutting the bamboo for the whole day. Baya brushed some sand and placed it on the stone. She sharpened the cleaver and started to kill the fish. The fish were all in groups. Baya did not know what kind of fish they were. They were all about the same size. One of them was about 8 to 9 grams. There were also a few especially big and small ones. There were also more than 10 fish that were not of this breed. In order to speed up the process, Baya threw away the fish's head and organs. She only kept the fish bubbles. Fish bubbles were good stuff. After drying, it would become the most natural flour glue. It could beautify, nourish the body. It was very good for women. An hour later, she had cleaned all the fish. She first brought a bucket to Gu Lingqing. He finished boiling the oil in half an hour and was helping to weave the rope. He saw Baya frowning and explained. You use your fingers to weave the rope. You don't need your palm. Baya sighed and sat beside him to weave the fish. It's getting dark. What are we going to do with these fish? Will they be eaten by wild beasts when we wake up? Our efforts will be in vain. Later, we should carry more stones over and hide under the stones. There's no need for that. The bamboo we use on the roof has different lengths. I purposely left them for hanging things. Gu Lingqing explained. Baya lowered her head and smiled. Gu Lingqing was really careful. She thought of everything. Then I'll use the rope or bamboo to weave some frames. I can put some ingredients in them. Baya thought. There's no hurry. We have plenty of time in the future. Oh right, is the small bag you weave too thin? What's it for? Gu Lingqing picked up the small bag she weaved and asked in confusion. Baya blushed. She snatched the small bag from Gu Lingqing's hand and continued to put it on the big leaf. She glanced at Gu Lingqing. He was still waiting for her to explain. My period is coming soon. I've thought about it. It doesn't need to be too thick. I'll put some smooth leaves at the bottom so it won't leak. I'll put charcoal ash in the middle so it can absorb water. If it's dirty, I'll throw it away. Baya explained. Gu Lingqing understood. She cleared her throat. You don't need to go into the sea today. The water is cold. I won't mind if it's dirty. I'll feel uncomfortable if I don't bathe. Baya said softly. Then I'll boil the seawater and you can bathe with the bamboo. Gu Lingqing paused. I still need to quickly make a bamboo house on the beach. You can hide in it and bathe. The sea breeze is too cold. I'm not that delicate. There's no hurry. I haven't come yet, right? It'll be too late when your hand recovers. Then you can bathe under our house first. I'll use a parasol to cover the side facing the sea. It should be able to block a lot of wind. Gu Lingqing thought about it. Baya felt that he was sadder about her than she was. She smiled. That's a good idea. I suddenly realized that our house is still a 2-story bungalow. Gu Lingqing was amused by Baya. I'll go pick more leaves later and dig out the charcoal ash. I'll make a few more tonight in case of emergencies. Teach me how to weave small bags later, and I'll help you. Baya was amused. Baya blushed. She really felt awkward asking Gu Lingqing, a dignified general, to help her weave women's products. No need. Baya refused. If you say no again, I'll be angry. Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and looked at her deeply. Chapter 305. After more than an hour, she had strung all the fish up with a rope. The fish had just been prepared and were not dry yet, so they needed the sea breeze to blow them. However, 150 fish could not fit on the clothesline. Baya could only put them on the big leaves and spread them on the beach. When everything was ready, it was already 9:30 p.m. We still have more than 10 crabs in the net. Do you want to eat them? Baya asked. Gu Lingqing shook his head. The pork we ate last night has not been digested yet. I'm too full. I'll go and release them. Then I'll keep the pork legs and blow them into the net, Baya said decisively. Gu Lingqing put the crabs back into the sea and hung the net on the clothesline. Baya warmed the water. Gu Lingqing knew her intention, so he made a torch. We might not have enough firewood today. Let's get up tomorrow morning to pick up more. We can dry them for later use, Baya reminded. Okay. Gu Lingqing took the torch, carried the pot, threw the bamboo into it, and went to the house. Baya carried the 3 pork legs and followed him. Gu Lingqing put the torch on a rock, took the pork legs from Baya's hands, and climbed into the house. Baya was taking a bath downstairs. Gu Lingqing came down a little early and stood in front of her. She took off all her clothes. Under the light of the fire, her skin was pink and tender, shining. He felt a gust of hot air rising from his abdomen. He quickly turned his back to her. Baya was also very nervous. However, she believed in Gu Lingqing's character. In the past, when they had not broken their relationship, even if she took the pill and seduced him, he did not touch her. She quickly put on her clothes. Well, I'm done, Baya said. Okay. Gu Lingqing did not look back. He took a deep breath and calmed his little brother down. Your menstrual period is coming soon. Hurry up and make a few more. He walked forward, and Baya picked up the torch and the pot that had run out of water and followed him. Gu Lingqing sat on a rock. Under the sea breeze, his messy mood calmed down a little. Baya sat beside him. The image of her showering flashed through his mind, and he felt hot again. He turned around and turned his back to Baya. Baya didn't say anything and started weaving. Gu Lingqing rested for 10 minutes, looked at her knitting technique, and helped her knit. Baya was already 27 years old. She had been married and divorced twice, had a child, and was also a psychiatrist. She knew the reason why Gu Lingqing was behaving abnormally. Looking at him awkwardly knitting women's products, her heart was wet. That, Baya said. What? Gu Lingqing squinted at her. Because something was deliberately suppressed, her voice was a little hoarse. Baya licked her dry lips. Gu Lingqing handed the bottle of mineral water to her. It can make distilled water. If you want to drink water, just drink it. Baya took the mineral water he handed over and took a sip. He was so good to her and thought of her everywhere. She had nothing to fear. That, I'll help you solve that. Pay attention to the surroundings and be careful of wild animals. Baya said softly. Her eyes were locked, and she didn't look at him. Gu Lingqing was surprised. He lowered his head and kissed her lips. Baya stepped back and covered her mouth. I haven't brushed my teeth for a few days. Tomorrow, let's go to the forest to find some plants for brushing and washing our hair. Gu Lingqing didn't force her. Baya squatted in front of him, took a deep breath, and unzipped his pants. Gu Lingqing groaned. He looked at her delicate face with infatuation. He didn't hide his deep love and indulgence. Sparks danced in his eyes. It seemed to be surprisingly in sync with her rhythm, and it flowed freely in his blood. Baya was gentle, meticulous, and satisfied in all aspects. In just 6 or 7 minutes, it came so fast and strong that Baya accidentally swallowed it. She gargled her mouth with pure water and poured it into the bamboo bucket to wash him. Neither of them spoke. The moon also came out from the clouds. It was so quiet, and the years were peaceful. With Gu Lingqing's help, she made 12 complete sanitary pads and yawned. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya with heartache. Rest early tonight. In the future, we won't work after 6 o'clock. It's not good for our eyes to work at night. Baya nodded and yawned again. Tears came out from the corners of her eyes. I just came here. I'll get better in the future. Let's go. I'll collect the fish. You just need to hold the torch behind me. Gu Lingqing stood up to collect the fish. She saw that he couldn't carry that much, so she did her best to help him carry it. Gu Lingqing placed the pot filled with fish on top of the bamboo when there was not enough space to hang them. Will he not be able to hold on? Baya asked worriedly. No, the bottom is a solid fulcrum. It'll be more stable if we put something heavy on top. Gu Lingqing explained. Baya was relieved and yawned again. Come up and sleep first. I'll clean up the rest. Baya wanted to accompany Gu Lingqing, but she didn't know whether it was because she didn't sleep well last night or her period was coming. She was so sleepy that she almost fainted. She climbed onto the bed and fell asleep as soon as she closed her eyes. Gu Lingqing looked at the wooden planks on the ground. Firstly, it was difficult to pull them up without Baya's help. Secondly, he was afraid that it would disturb Baya's sleep. So, he used the simplest method. He took a ready-made umbrella and placed it in front of Baya. He had worked hard today, so his body relaxed. Soon, he fell asleep as well. Baya had a dream. In the dream she died. Gu Lingqing was in great pain. He hugged her body and cried as he walked towards the sea. She didn't want him to die. She shouted at him with all her might, but he didn't seem to hear her. She jumped into the water too. She felt it was difficult to breathe. She tried to pull him up, but he didn't move. She was too anxious and sad. She woke up and opened her eyes. Her eyes were red. Her face was full of tears. She looked at Gu Lingqing's beautiful face. The more she looked, the more reluctant she was to leave. The more she looked, the more she didn't want to die. He was working hard for their future. He did a lot of work. His hands were full of blisters, but he didn't stop. But she estimated that there were only 20 days left before the poison took effect. Gu Lingqing was such a good person, but he was left alone on the island. How pitiful would that be? He didn't even have someone to talk to him. What she was afraid of was that he would really carry her to the sea to seek death, just like in her dreams. Gu Lingqing's eyelashes trembled slightly. She was about to wake up. Baya immediately closed her eyes. She turned around and turned her back to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing opened her eyes and looked at the time. It was 6:50. She sat up. She wanted her to sleep a little longer, so she jumped down quietly. Chapter 306. Gu Lingqing looked at her and smiled. Morning. Baya put down the ladder and climbed down. She held his arm and said seriously, Gu Lingqing, I've thought about it. Now we have enough bamboo and food to eat for 20 days. We can make a bigger boat. As long as there is enough water, we can definitely go back. As long as we have enough water, we can definitely go back. Gu Lingqing stared at her with an unreadable expression. You want to go back? Baya felt that his question was very strange. Don't you want to go back? Actually, drifting on the sea, especially in the deep sea, without modern equipment, it's very easy to sink into the sea. It depends on our luck, whether we'll encounter big waves, undercurrents, reefs, and so on. Last time, we only encountered heavy rain. And we almost lost our lives. Gu Lingqing explained. Last time, we only used wooden planks and we could survive for 2 nights and a day. This time, we'll make the boat stronger and bigger. Then, we'll continue using wooden planks to protect ourselves. After drifting for 5 to 6 days, we might encounter a cruise ship and we'll be saved. Baya tried to persuade Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing rubbed Baya's head, and his expression softened. I think life on the island is also very good now. It's like a vacation, free and unrestrained, eating natural delicacies, and no one comes to disturb our lives. Even if we are disturbed, it's because we have returned to the modern world. Back in the life. We're at ease and follow God's will. What if I die? Baya blurted out anxiously. Gu Lingqing smiled. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, I won't let the birds or beasts hurt you. Even if you really die in front of me, I'll accompany you. I won't let you leave alone. She was afraid that he would accompany her. What if I get sick? Baya asked with tears in her eyes. Aren't you a doctor? Besides, there are some common herbs that I can recognize. We usually have them prepared whenever we see them, just in case we need them. If it's a serious illness, then it might be God's will. We are alive. Before we get seriously ill, we will have returned to modern life. Since we're already here, we might as well take things as they come. Qing consoled. If, instead of dying, she could live for a long time, she really wanted to live with him on this island forever. But there is no if. Gu Lingqing, I want to go back. I have an unfulfilled wish. Baya pleaded, shaking Gu Lingqing's arm. Gu Lingqing sighed helplessly. Fine, if you want to go back, then go ahead. But our food is all raw. Can you eat it raw? In addition, we need to prepare enough water. With our current mineral water bottles, even if we fill them up, I'm afraid it won't be enough for us. I've thought about this. Let's first use bamboo to build a boat. The boat needs to be slightly bigger, 3 meters long, 1, 6 meters wide, and 1, 5 meters tall. Then, put a wooden board on the top of the boat as the bow. Then, lay a few layers of stones at the bottom of the boat. Then we can light a fire on the stones. If we eat it, we can also make distilled water, Baya imagined. There are gaps between the bamboos. Especially after the waves hit the sea, water will come in. Soon, our boat will be submerged. Even if it's not fast, it won't last for a day. If it's raining heavily, there will only be a wooden board or a bottom left. Gu Lingqing denied. Tree bark can be waterproof. We can make the boat into a double layer. Then we can put the tree bark in the middle. That way it will be waterproof. Baya suggested. We can't cover the whole boat with tree bark. There are gaps between the tree bark. As long as there is a little gap, water will come in. So since ancient times, all the boats we've seen have been made of wood. None of them are made of bamboo, except for bamboo rafts. Bamboo rafts are similar to wooden boards. Gu Lingqing explained patiently. Baya lowered her eyes. She couldn't hide her disappointment. Gu Lingqing held Baya's hand and said, How about this, we try our luck? If we have a chance to encounter a towering tree, the wood is relatively light and can be directly made into a boat, we will cut down the tree and make a boat to leave. Can we move such a big tree with our strength? Baya doubted. Gu Lingqing scratched Baya's nose. Are you stupid? It's so heavy. We can move it after making it into a boat. During this period, we need to stock up on drinking water and food. The conditions might not allow us to start a fire on the wooden boat. Will the wooden boat capsize under the big waves? Baya was worried. Even ships have the possibility of sinking, let alone a small boat. I can only try my best to prepare. Everything depends on God's will. Baya nodded and sighed. She was definitely going to leave. If she stayed, Gu Lingqing would be buried with her. If she left, she just had to say that she was going abroad and not let Gu Lingqing know that she was dead. After a few years, he would forget about her. Let's go. We'll rinse our mouths and have breakfast. We'll go to the forest. Gu Lingqing held Baya's hand and walked. What are we having for breakfast? Baya asked Gu Lingqing. We don't seem to have a fire source and firewood. Gu Lingqing remembered. Then let's go to the forest first. We'll look for some wild vegetables and firewood. We'll also look for a towering tree. Baya took a plastic bag and followed behind Gu Lingqing. Because of the dream yesterday, she was not in a good mood. Gu Lingqing squatted down and picked a bunch of coffee-colored mushrooms. He took the plastic bag from Baya's hand and put it inside. He could see that Baya was restless. What's wrong? Is something bothering you? Baya shook her head. My stomach is not feeling well. Are the mushrooms in your hand edible? I heard that there are a lot of poisonous mushrooms in the forest. Gu Lingqing felt sorry for her. When we go back later, lie on the bed and rest. Leave the rest to me. No matter what happens, don't get out of bed. Baya's stomach was really not feeling well. She nodded. I'm sorry for dragging you down. Why would I? If you're not feeling well, you should rest. That's not dragging me down. Gu Lingqing was in charge of looking for wild vegetables while Baya helped to pick them. They had been picking for 1.5 hours and had already picked a big plastic bag full. They were ready to go back. Gu Lingqing suddenly stopped and turned around. What's wrong? Baya was nervous. There's a pheasant. Xiaoya, follow behind me. Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He put the plastic bag on the ground and rushed forward. The pheasant sensed danger and ran away. Gu Lingqing was afraid that Baya could not keep up, so he did not dare to run too fast. He chased after the pheasant for more than 10 minutes. Gu Lingqing turned around and looked at Baya. She was struggling to keep up. He did not want her to run too hard, so he was ready to give up. Gu Lingqing, look. Baya pointed in front. Gu Lingqing looked in the direction that Baya pointed. Not far away, there was a bamboo house with 2 rooms. Chapter 307. They looked at each other. Gu Lingqing held Baya's hand. He didn't care about the chicken anymore and walked towards the bamboo house quietly. Baya's heart was beating fast. She actually found them on this island. She and Gu Lingqing were no longer alone. Perhaps with their help, they could leave earlier. Gu Lingqing pushed the door open. Baya saw that there was no one inside. There was a thick layer of dust on the wooden table. This place is empty. Gu Lingqing couldn't help feeling gloomy. Baya looked around and opened the cupboard. She looked at the things inside. I think that the owner of this place must have lived on this road for a long time. That's why he could build a house. He must have been preparing to leave. That's why there's no food in the cupboard. The choice of building a house is either safety or water. This place doesn't seem to be the safest, Gu Lingqing guessed. He pulled Baya out of the house. They walked around the house and looked around. Gu Lingqing! Baya shouted. She looked at the charcoal ash and the remaining wood on the ground. She frowned and looked at Gu Lingqing. The owner of the house has the same thought as us. They also built their own boat and left from here. Gu Lingqing nodded. His heart was heavy. Maybe he survived. Maybe he died on the sea. The bad news is that he stayed here for a long time. No boat passed by to take him away, Baya said sadly. Not necessarily. This place is quite far from the sea. Even if a boat passed by, he wouldn't be able to see it. So no boat took him away, Gu Lingqing comforted Bai Ya. Bai Ya answered. Gu Lingqing lay on the ground with his ear close to the ground. Bai Ya guessed that he was listening to the sound of water. Gu Lingqing stood up and looked around again. Did you hear anything? There's the sound of water. It should be nearby, but I can't see it. Gu Lingqing was puzzled. Could it be in the room? Bai Ya guessed. She turned back to the room and searched everywhere. After entering the house, Gu Lingqing leaned against the ground again. Xiaoya, the sound of water is much louder here than outside. It must be covered by something. Bai Ya looked around and set her eyes on the cabinet. Could it be down here? Gu Lingqing moved the cabinet aside and saw a well. There's really water inside, Bai Ya said in surprise. But it seems to be a bit deep. It's about 6 meters from here to the surface of the water? Gu Lingqing estimated with his eyes. About 8 meters. I don't see any buckets here. So, we have to make the buckets ourselves. Then we can tie a rope to it and get water. We can use bamboo to store enough water. In this way, we won't have to worry about dying of thirst on the sea. Bai Ya's eyes lit up. Gu Lingqing could tell that she really wanted to leave. So do you want to stay here or go back to the beach? Gu Lingqing asked. Of course, back to the beach. Maybe there's a boat passing by, and we won't miss it. Besides, we have to catch fish there. I fried the dried fish so we can eat it on the way. Now that we have water and food, we just need a boat. Bai Ya's mood suddenly lightened up. Gu Lingqing turned her body so that she was facing him. Xiaoya, promise me. When we go back, we have to be together, Gu Lingqing said solemnly. He still had some concerns. He was worried that when they went back, Bai Ya would leave him again. If that was the case, he would rather stay on this island for the rest of his life. Bai Ya lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes trembled slightly. She hugged Gu Lingqing and leaned on his shoulder. Looking forward, she promised, Gu Lingqing, you're the man I love the most in my life. You're the man I'll love even if I die. Thank you for letting me know the sweetness of love and being doted on. I'll definitely be with you. I won't go to someone else's place. Gu Lingqing raised the corner of his lips. He looked down at her lovingly and scratched her nose. Don't die. We won't die. We'll live to a ripe old age. We'll have many children and grandchildren. We'll be together forever. Bai Ya's eyes turned red. What he said was also what she dreamed of. She smiled and changed the topic. Let's go back now. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm a little hungry. Okay. As soon as they left, they saw the pheasant from before passing by the door. Gu Lingqing smiled. This pheasant is destined for us. Xiaoya, wait for me here. As soon as he said that, he rushed out swiftly. Without Bai Ya holding him back, he caught the pheasant in a short while and shook it at Bai Ya. Bai Ya smiled as she looked at the beautiful pheasant in his hand. In the past, she thought that pheasants were not domesticated chickens. They looked the same as domesticated chickens. So, it turned out that pheasants were beautiful. They had colorful feathers, long and shiny. It was no wonder that the saying went, a pheasant turns into a phoenix, and not a domesticated chicken. If she could stay on this island for the rest of her life, she would like to keep this pheasant in a pen. When they returned to the beach, Gu Lingqing looked at the time. It was already 10 o'clock. They did not even have a fire. It was not easy to make a fire by drilling wood. Even though Gu Lingqing was a veteran, it took him half an hour to get the fire started. She took out the fish and pork leg from before to dry while Gu Lingqing went to kill the pheasant. When Bai Ya was done, she looked at Gu Lingqing. He was squatting by the beach, plucking the feathers of the pheasant. That needs to be boiled in hot water before plucking, Bai Ya reminded him. Really? Gu Lingqing looked innocent. It was also his first time killing a pheasant. He put the pheasant in the pot and boiled it in hot water before taking it out. Be careful, it's hot, Bai Ya reminded him. It's not hot. Gu Lingqing grabbed the pheasant and went to the beach to continue working. Bai Ya did not do nothing. She boiled the last bit of water and chopped the bamboo into sections. She tied the 12 bamboo sections with a rope and wrapped the 2 sides of the bamboo tube with a rope to make a simple bucket. Gu Lingqing washed the pheasant and put it in the pot. Bai Ya passed the bucket to him. We have no mineral water anymore. You can use this simple bucket first. Gu Lingqing took the bucket from Bai Ye and passed the pistol to her. Keep it for self-defense. I don't need it. I'll go to bed later and wait for you to come back. Bai Ye pushed Gu Lingqing's hand away. Gu Lingqing smiled. His eyes were covered with a layer of meaning. I really hope that there is a deeper meaning to this sentence. Bai Ye did not mean that at first. After being pointed out by him, she knew the ambiguity of this sentence. She blushed instantly and explained. Didn't you say that it's safe in bed? Yes. Gu Lingqing did not joke with her. You go up first. I'll leave after you go up. Bai Ye climbed onto the bed. Only then did Gu Lingqing leave safely. Chapter 308. Bai Ye immediately got off the bed and ran towards the beach. Hey, hey! She picked up the big leaves on the ground and waved them in the air, trying to get the fishing boat's attention. However, the fishing boat didn't seem to notice her and sailed away. How could this be? Bai Ye looked at the back of the fishing boat dejectedly. Her shoulders drooped and her eyes dimmed. Xiaoya, why are you standing here? Gu Lingqing came back from fetching water and asked worriedly. Bai Ye pointed at the sea. She could still see the shadow of the boat that was far away. Gu Lingqing hugged Bai Ye's shoulder and comforted her. It's a good thing. At least it proves that there are boats passing by here. Maybe they didn't see you. After all, there aren't many people on the small fishing boat and they are busy fishing. Bai Ye nodded. That was the only thing she could do. She turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing. Not only did he fill the mineral water bottle with mineral water, but he also filled the bamboo tube with water. This water is very sweet. Hide it. Gu Lingqing opened the bottle and passed it to Bai Ye. Bai Ye took a sip. The water was indeed sweet. Nature's gift was amazing. There was actually such a spring in the sea. With Gu Lingqing around, Bai Ye felt much better. I think we have to make something special on the beach. Otherwise, the fishing boat won't see it the next time, Bai Ye suggested. It's simple and eye-catching. Either it's loud or it's very special. There are many big leaves on this island. We can connect the big green leaves with a rope and tie it to a bamboo pole 10 meters high. Then we can tie the words SOS on it and it should be seen. Let's do it. Let's go pick the leaves. I'll connect all the leaves, Bai Ye said anxiously and pulled Gu Lingqing away. Gu Lingqing followed her dotingly. Why didn't I notice that you're an impatient person before? Everyone has an invisible personality and an obvious personality. Under special circumstances, they will display different personalities. For example, when many people are working, they will give off a feeling of being lively, positive, and joyful. However, when he returned home and faced his family, he might not want to talk. It's gloomy, Bai Ye explained. Xiaoya, no matter what you become, I will still like you, Gu Lingqing said meaningfully. Bai Ye's eyes trembled. She knew what Gu Lingqing meant. She stopped, turned around, and looked at him. Bai Ye's life is very painful. 3 years ago, he switched to a mental illness. In the 3 years he went to the United States to study, he couldn't cure himself. A doctor can't cure himself. After she came back, the things between you and Zhou Hailan, Zhou Heilan's child, her own child, almost killing you, and the fact that you can't be together. As her mental illness became more and more serious, she completely broke down. She has been dedicated to the research of hypnosis. She tried many times to hypnotize herself to forget you in the past, but she didn't succeed. Because she knew that she was hypnotizing herself. Under such a subconscious, she couldn't hypnotize herself at all. On the day you were released, she was brought to see you by Su Jiran. She was mocked and slandered by your family, friends, and ex-girlfriends. She couldn't be together with you and had to endure the slander, but she couldn't say the reason. She was in pain. I appeared, I wanted to help her, so I sent the notebook to you. I wanted to help her, so I sent it to you and threw away her bag. I walked and walked, but I realized that there seemed to be nowhere to go. Back then, the place where you forgot about her was in Jinyuan, and the place where the accident happened was also in Jinyuan. I wanted to go there. After walking for a few days, I was a little tired. While I was in a daze, I heard the sound of a horn. It scared me. At the same time, Bai Ye came back. At that time, she was very confused. I remembered everything she had done, but she didn't know what I had done. She thought that there was something wrong with her mind. In fact, in medical terms, this is called a split personality. Maybe it's what you think of as a mental illness. However, in my opinion, Bai Ya and I were independent individuals. We were two people, and I wanted to protect her. When she arrived at her friend's house, you appeared. When she saw you, she was very touched and happy. But when she thought that you couldn't be together, she felt very sad. She hurt you with her indifference, and you used your anger to tell her that you wanted to break up. She smashed things in despair. She was in so much pain that she wished she was dead. Then, I watched her hypnotize myself. I would never forget her pair of red eyes. They were so pitiful, pleading, helpless, reluctant, accusing, and miserable. I thought that she wanted to forget about you in the past, but she didn't. She just wanted me to finish what she wanted to finish. Baya lowered her eyes and paused. What did she want you to finish? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya raised her head and looked at Gu Lingqing. What she wanted to finish was to finish the work that she hadn't finished, to cure Bai Bing, to deal with Su Jiaran, so that he couldn't hurt Gu Lingqing. Then before she died, she had to leave City A, go to a place where no one could find her, die quietly, and not let anyone know that she was dead. Especially not let Gu Lingqing know. The fog dyed her eyes. Bai Ya, when she hypnotized herself, she forgot to hypnotize her heart. She should have let her only become a tool for her task. Will you help Bai Ya fulfill her wish? Bai Ya asked. Yes, Gu Lingqing answered without thinking. Bai Ya felt a burst of sourness flowing through her heart and into her blood. It was extremely sour. She sniffed. She said that she wanted to cure her mother. She said that she wanted to repay the kindness she owed. She said that she wanted to travel around the world. She said. Baya paused and looked at Gu Lingqing with burning eyes. She wanted Gu Lingqing to live well until her hair turned white. Live well until her hair turned white? Gu Lingqing looked at Baya suspiciously. Su Jiaran has too many schemes. If you are not careful, you will fall into his trap. He is full of hostility towards you. I can only plan for you by staying by his side. Can you fulfill her wish? Baya asked. I don't need you to plan for me. I will be careful in the future. I won't give him any chance to take advantage of me again. If you stay by his side, I will live a life worse than death. Gu Lingqing held her hand tightly. I won't go to his side anymore. But you must promise me that no matter what happens, you must live well until your hair turns white. Can you do that? Baya stared at this question and asked. Gu Lingqing slightly raised the corner of his mouth. He held the side of her face with pity and gently stroked it with his thumb. We will do everything together. We will live well together until our hair turns white. Even if we die, we will be together. We will die together in the same cave and never be separated. Baya cried, and tears streamed down her cheeks. Chapter 309. If you die before me, I definitely won't seek death. I'll live well and forget about you. I'll find a new man to live with, Baya purposely said angrily. It's okay. You can live according to your heart. Every year on the anniversary of my death, come to my grave and let me see you, Gu Lingqing said gently. His pampering, his generosity, his wholehearted devotion, his unrequited love, and his unfairness made her so sad, so sad. She didn't want Gu Lingqing to die. She couldn't bear for him to die. When a person died, there would be nothing left, not even a soul. Not only would they not be remembered by the future generations, they would also be talked about after meals. Baya lowered her head, trying not to cry out loud. She clenched her fists tightly. Because of her emotions, her shoulders were trembling. Gu Lingqing hugged Baya. It's okay, silly girl. What's there to cry about? We're together now and we'll be together in the future. We'll be together until our hair turns white. We'll have our children and our children will have children and this will continue on forever. Baya closed her eyes and hugged Gu Lingqing tightly. She stood there for 5 minutes. She finally stopped crying. She let go of Gu Lingqing and wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. In the future, she wouldn't test him or beg him anymore. She already knew how he felt about her. She couldn't change his mind. She could only do what she felt was right. Gu Lingqing, do you like the old Baiya more or the current me more? Baiya asked. Gu Lingqing chuckled and said helplessly, You in my eyes have always been you. So, I took advantage of Baiya and made you fall in love with me? Baiya asked. Xiaoya, I don't know how you define who you are and who you used to be. Your personality hasn't changed, the feeling you give me hasn't changed, your behavior hasn't changed, and the way you speak hasn't changed. If there's one thing that has changed, it's that you don't need to take sleeping pills and pills that affect your mental state anymore. You are you. Gu Lingqing confessed his love to Gu Lingqing. Aren't you afraid that the old Baiya would get angry if she heard this? You were the one in the past. You were the one before you grew up and transformed. Are you jealous of yourself? Gu Lingqing laughed. Baiya also stopped crying and smiled. She had always felt that she was born from Baiya, not Baiya. However, when Gu Lingqing said that the old Baiya was the one before she grew up and transformed, she felt that the current her was Baiya, the Baiya who had become better. You're so good at talking. No wonder so many women like you, Baiya said. Her tone was resentful, but her heart was sweet. I don't know how many women like me, and I don't want to provoke them. I only like you, and I only want to provoke you, Gu Lingqing confessed. Baiya laughed. Her heart was sweeter than eating 10 kilograms of honey. We seem to have forgotten to get down to business. Gu Lingqing replied. He held Baiya's hand and went to pick the big leaves. The big leaves here were very big. They could be about 1.5 meters long and 40 centimeters wide. They picked more than 50 leaves and returned to the beach. Baiya felt that something was wrong. Hey, turn around. Gu Lingqing was puzzled. She turned her back to Baiya. She squatted down and saw red. Just as she was worrying about it, a homemade sanitary pad was handed to her. Baiya took it embarrassedly and put it on. Her pants were red and needed to be washed. She had to quickly weave a disposable little tiny pants with a rope. While she was knitting, Gu Lingqing washed the mushrooms and put them in the chicken soup. He continued to stew them over the fire. He made a big leaf flag for help and connected all 30 leaves together to form a very big flag. A gust of wind blew over. Baiya looked at the sky. The east was dark and scary. Moreover, it was extending towards them at a very fast speed. Gu Lingqing, do you think it's going to rain? Baiya asked. Gu Lingqing looked at the sky and frowned. The storm will come in 2 hours. The wind won't be small. Should we go to the bamboo house to avoid the rain? Will the tide rise? Baiya asked. The tide rise is caused by the gravity of the sun and moon. The storm will be strong and the waves will be big. It won't cause the tide rise. Looking at the condition of the trees here, it should not be flooded. Gu Lingqing explained. Then I won't go to the bamboo house over there. Our house should be fine. If we put the wooden planks on top, it should be able to shelter us from the rain. The bamboo you used to cover the top is a little long, like the eaves of the house. The side facing the sea can be covered with the big leaf in your hand. As for the fire, we can move it under our house. There are 2 pieces of cloth to cover it. If not, we can use the umbrella. Baiya did not want to leave. Her own grass nest was better than a gold or silver nest. She would be scared to live in a place with strangers. All right then. Help me pull the wooden planks up first, Gu Lingqing said. He took the torch and held Baiya's hand to the house. Baiya lit the fire in the middle of the stone. Gu Lingqing tied 8 ropes to the wooden planks. He climbed to the roof and pulled the ropes up. Baiya lifted the wooden planks with all her strength. After the cloth planks were in the air, she climbed up the bamboo ladder and pushed the wooden planks up. It took more than half an hour to place the wooden planks on the roof. The wind was getting stronger. Let's take the ingredients back and put them down there first, Baiya said. Okay. They moved all the ingredients to the bottom of the house and used the leaves as a cushion. Baiya also moved the pots back and put them on the ground first. The 2 remaining wooden planks were small. One was about 1.4 meters long and 1.2 meters high. The other one was about the same. Gu Lingqing stacked the 2 1.4 meters together and blocked the door, leaving a gap of 50 centimeters for easy access. For safety, he folded the leaves that were 6 meters long and 5 meters wide. They became 5 meters long and 3 meters wide. The leaves were sandwiched between the 2 layers of wooden planks. Gu Lingqing found a few stones to hold the wooden planks down. He also moved the firewood to the side of the house. He covered the firewood with big leaves and held it down with stones. He only left a dozen pieces of dead wood piled up in the corner, away from the fire as much as possible. Baya looked at the sky. As far as she could see, it was dark. She had never seen such weather. It was eerie and scary. She was scared. Xiaoya, stay in the house and don't come out later. Gu Lingqing reminded her. What about you? Baya was worried. I still have something to do. If you have something to do, let's do it together. Baya held Gu Lingqing's hand. Chapter 3:10. Baya regretted it now. She shouldn't have stayed here willfully. If she went to the bamboo house with Gu Lingqing, it should be safer. The bamboo house was surrounded by trees, which could block most of the wind. But now, it was definitely too late for them to go to the bamboo house. The sky was dark, not to mention the forest, it must be darker. They would get lost, and they couldn't bring a torch. Even if they could, it would be easily extinguished in such a strong wind. Once it rained, it would be extinguished even faster. The road was muddy, and the umbrella would become a burden. I'm sorry, I should have listened to you. Baya apologized. It's not too late to be obedient now. Gu Lingqing smiled lovingly. Stay on the bed and don't come down. Wait for me. Baya climbed onto the bed. In the past, the bamboo ladder would be put on the bed, but Gu Lingqing was worried that she would come down to find him, so he put the ladder on the ground and left quickly. Baya's stomach hurt badly. She lay on the bed and curled up. The wind blew the leaves violently, and the leaves clamored to resist. Her ears were filled with the whistling of the wind, as if thousands of troops and horses were fighting. The wind blowing through the gaps of the leaves was stronger than she imagined. After about 15 minutes of crazy construction, the rain poured down and hit the wooden board with a pitter-patter. She could still feel the moisture coming in. She didn't know what Gu Lingqing was doing outside now. Did he hold an umbrella? Was he drenched in the rain? Was he in danger? Baya didn't have a watch. She only felt that without Gu Lingqing by her side, time passed like a year. The more she waited, the more anxious she became. Not only did the rain not seem to stop, but it was also getting heavier, and the wind was getting stronger. Gu Lingqing, Gu Lingqing. Baya shouted, and her voice was also drowned in the sound of the rain. She wanted to get off the bed to find Gu Lingqing, but she was worried that she would be a burden to Gu Lingqing. But what if something happened to him? No one would help him. If something happened to him, she would feel guilty for the rest of her life. She lifted a corner and a gust of wind blew in. The endurance of the leaf had reached its limit. First, a tear appeared on one of the leaves, and then a long strip was torn open. The leaf was split into 2 halves, and the lower half slid down. The wind and rain came in. Baya couldn't even open his eyes. He squinted and vaguely saw something moving in front of him. Because the sky was too dark and the rain was too heavy, she couldn't see clearly at all. She shouted, Gu Lingqing, Gu Lingqing. There was a clap. Baya was startled when he saw something blocking in front of him. The wind had subsided, and the rain had stopped. Gu Lingqing, Baya shouted. Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing's voice rang out. Baya calmed down when she heard Gu Lingqing's voice. Where did you go? I've been gone for a long time. Gu Lingqing raised the torch and lit up the surroundings. She saw Gu Lingqing's whole body was wet, and there was tied bamboo behind him. You went to tie the bamboo? Gu Lingqing put the bamboo ladder on the bed. Baya came down from the ladder. The wind is too strong. I don't think the leaves can block it for long. Also, it's not convenient to go in and out. I still have some finishing work to do. You must be hungry. Eat first, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya held his arm and said worriedly, How much longer will it take? You're all wet. If I put the bamboo like this, the pressure on the roof of the house will be too strong. I need to borrow the big tree. It'll be done in about half an hour. Why don't you heat up the chicken soup first and wait for me to eat together? Okay, I'll heat up the chicken soup. Let's eat together. Baya walked to the bottom of the house. Because she didn't cook under the house, she just used stones to surround the fire. Baya adjusted the distance and shape of the stones. She chose 2 of the largest stones that were about the same height as the fulcrum to support the pot. She put the rest of the stones in front of the fire again to block the wind. Gu Lingqing sandwiched the wooden board that was originally blocking the bottom of the house between the new bamboo board and the tree trunk and tied it tightly. Previously, the top bamboo board was only exposed to the direction of the sea by 1 meter. Gu Lingqing climbed onto the bed again and pushed the top bamboo board out. He moved it forward by 20 centimeters to support the outside bamboo board. When everything was done, he came down from the bed. Baya handed the bamboo bowl with the chicken drumstick to Gu Lingqing and said apologetically, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't think it through. I should have done these things earlier to prepare for a rainy day. In the end, I made a last-minute effort." Gu Lingqing took the bowl from Baya and sat down on the stone that Baya prepared. "Take off your clothes. I'll dry them for you." Baya spread a large piece of fallen leaves on the ground. "There's no hurry. You eat first. It's been 12 hours since you said you were hungry." Gu Lingqing said with distress. "I've been too hungry. I don't feel hungry anymore. I'll eat in another 10 minutes. Dry your clothes first. If you catch a cold, who will protect me?" Gu Lingqing thought it was reasonable. He took off his clothes and handed them to Baya. Baya spread Gu Lingqing's clothes on the stone in front of the fire to block the wind. She put the other pot outside and sat next to Gu Lingqing to drink the chicken soup. The chicken soup had been stewed for a long time. It was originally wild. With the addition of delicious mushrooms, it was very delicious. After Baya ate a bowl, she turned over Gu Lingqing's clothes and continued to dry them. Gu Lingqing ate 3 bowls. Baya also ate 2 bowls. The 2 of them finished a bowl of pheasant and mushroom stew. Baya put a linen cloth in her palm. She took the chicken soup pot down and put it outside. Then she took the pot that was put outside. The pot was already filled with rainwater. She added some firewood. In the past, there was a shortage of water. I was worried that there would be no water. Now there is a lot of water, but I can't store it all at once. Baya sighed. Gu Lingqing smiled. "My clothes should be dry now, right?" Baya touched Gu Lingqing's clothes. They were dry and warm. In the cool rainy days, they felt especially warm. She handed the clothes to Gu Lingqing. "Take off your pants. If you feel cold, sit in front of the fire." "Okay." Gu Lingqing responded and unbuckled his belt. This action was too natural. She felt a little uncomfortable. "Carry it on your back." Gu Lingqing turned around. Baya put on a new sanitary pad. She blushed and threw it into the fire. She took Gu Lingqing's pants and laid them on the stone. She felt Gu Lingqing's gaze on her. It was very hot. She diverted her thoughts and asked, "What time is it now?" Gu Lingqing looked at the time on her watch. 19:15. Time flies. Baya sat down on the stone. Chapter 3:11. There are also 3 rooms downstairs, a kitchen, a woodshed, and a dining room. Then, I will build a 2-meter-high wall outside and dig a well. Our children can play in the yard every day, and we can also take our children to the beach every day and live a free and unfettered life. We can live a carefree life, Gu Lingqing said with imagination. Baya listened to Gu Lingqing's words. His voice was deep, like the last note played by a cello. It was very pleasant to listen to. A sentence flashed through her mind. "I have a family, facing the sea, with flowers blooming in the warmth of spring." She moved the stone to his side and sat down beside him. She hugged Gu Lingqing's arm and leaned her head on his shoulder. "Actually, we all have our own responsibilities. Your parents, your army, your promise. My parents, my promise, and my wish. However, as long as we're alive, there's hope. I promise you, after we've finished what we have to do, if you still want to come to this island, I'll accompany you." Gu Lingqing looked down at Baya. His eyes softened and he raised the corner of his mouth. "I suddenly feel grateful to LV Xingzhou. If it weren't for him, I don't know how you'd torture me." Baya lowered her eyes and looked at the steaming pot noodles. All kinds of complicated thoughts flowed through her eyes. She used to resent the unfairness of fate, but she also thanked the heavens for their kindness and let her get love. Now, when she thought of Gu Lingqing after her death, she felt very pitiful, and then resented the heavens. However, what was the use of resenting? In life, it was still up to oneself to choose how to go on. When she realized that her face was wet, she realized that she was crying again. "Why are you crying?" Gu Lingqing asked worriedly. He turned her shoulders so that she was facing him. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing with red eyes. "I thought of our son. I think he's definitely not dead. He's still alive and safe, but I don't know where he is. I want to find him. I wonder if this wish can come true? As for our child, I've actually thought about it. If it's man-made, it won't be done by Su Jieran, your father, or my parents. But it's most likely done by someone on my side. If we can return alive this time, I promise you that within a year, I will definitely find our child," Gu Lingqing promised. "It seems like we really have a lot of things to do." Baya sighed. Gu Lingqing held her shoulders and pulled her into his arms. "No matter what it is, we'll do it together. We'll definitely be able to solve everything." Baya didn't say anything. He couldn't bear it, so he closed his eyes and dozed off. Hearing that Baya did not reply, Gu Lingqing looked at her. Thinking that she had fallen asleep, she wanted to carry her. Baya opened his eyes. Gu Lingqing smiled gently. "Go to sleep if you're tired." "Okay." Baya climbed up the bamboo ladder and lay down. Gu Lingqing draped his clothes over her. "It's cold tonight. Go to sleep first. I'll add some firewood and come up to accompany you." Baya didn't sleep. After waiting for Gu Lingqing to come up, she draped his clothes over him and took the initiative to hug him, nestling in his arms. Baya wasn't clingy. Even after sex, she wouldn't be so clingy. In fact, he liked her initiative and her clinginess. This way, it would make him feel that he was loved and needed by her. He kissed her on the forehead. They went to sleep early. After some time, Baya woke up. The storm had already stopped. There was no pitter-patter of rain, only the sound of water dripping from the leaves. She smelled the fragrant air and took a deep breath. Gu Lingqing also opened his eyes. "Morning, lazy little pig. What time is it?" Baya asked. Gu Lingqing glanced at his phone. "It's 6:35. Do you want to sleep a little more?" Baya shook her head. She felt wet and uncomfortable. She wanted to get up and change to another one. Gu Lingqing went down first and stood at the bottom to protect her. After Baya came down, he turned around and added some firewood. Baya saw that the fire was still burning. She guessed that Gu Lingqing had gotten up several times during the night. After the storm, it should be difficult to walk in the forest. "Why don't we take a look in the afternoon?" Baya asked. Gu Lingqing brought in the pot from outside and put it on the fire. "After breakfast, I'll go out alone to cut down trees. There are many big trees on this island. It's not difficult to find a tree that can be made into a boat. I should be back before dark. You stay at home and don't go out, understand?" "You're going out alone." Baya was a little worried. Gu Lingqing smiled gently. "I have a gun and a knife with me. Don't worry. Walk slowly. Be careful of snakes and insects," Baya reminded him. "Don't worry. What are we having for breakfast? Fish soup or pork ribs?" Gu Lingqing asked. "Pork ribs. I've thought of a way. We can bring a bag of sand onto the boat and bury the fish in the sand. If we expose the fish to the sun, the fish will be cooked. However, the pork won't be cooked, right?" Gu Lingqing nodded. "You're right. Let's have pork ribs then. Everything is ready now. We only lack the boat." Baya took out the pork ribs and poured them into the pot. The conditions were harsh and the water was scarce. They had washed it last time, so they didn't need to wash it this time. Gu Lingqing went out and put the wet wood on the beach to dry again. He found more than 10 pieces of wood that were still considered dry and put them in the house. "Go and find some trees or leaves with a lot of fibers. I can weave the word rope," Baya said to Gu Lingqing. "It's probably moist now. Is your abdomen better?" "You can rest for a day," Gu Lingqing said with concern. "It's better now." I can put it on a rock to dry first. I have nothing to do when you're gone. I'm bored, Baya pleaded. Got it. Gu Lingqing went out and chopped 2 pieces. He put them on a rock. The pork ribs were almost done. Baya put the remaining mushrooms into the pot. Gu Lingqing passed her a few leaves. What are these? Baya was surprised. Put it in your mouth and chew it. Then spit it out. I found it yesterday. It's like toothpaste. It can strengthen your teeth. Gu Lingqing threw a few leaves into her mouth, chewed it and spat it out. Baya chewed it too. It was cool and bitter. Gu Lingqing left after breakfast. Before he left, Baya picked out most of the pork ribs and put them in a bamboo tube for him to take away. Wait for me at home, Gu Lingqing instructed. He kissed her on the forehead and turned to leave. After some time, Baya was still weaving rope when she heard Su Jiaron's voice. Xiaoya. Her heart tightened and she looked up in surprise. Chapter 3:12. Baya stood up in shock. The knitting rope in her hands fell to the ground. She asked in surprise, Why are you here? I'll take you away first. We'll talk on the boat, Su Jiaron said and jumped in. Baya stood still, her brows furrowed, and her breathing became uneven. Leave. What about Gu Lingqing? If she told Su Jiaron that Gu Lingqing was here. No, Su Jiaron would not take Gu Lingqing away. He might even kill Gu Lingqing here. She could not tell Su Jiaron that Gu Lingqing was here too. If she said that she would not leave, Su Jiaron would definitely be suspicious. He would not leave either. When Gu Lingqing came back, he would meet Gu Lingqing. Wait for me outside. I'll pack up and leave, Baya said. Su Jiaron looked at the simple little house. From the bamboo board to the firewood in the corner and the pig leg on the ground. His eyes became colder every time he saw something. He squinted and glanced at Baya. His pale face had replaced the joy he had when he saw her just now. Who else lives here besides you? Su Jiaron asked. I live alone, Baya answered. You built all these? Su Jiaron did not believe it. He looked at Baya's eyes. Baya looked at Su Jiaron calmly. From the color of the bamboo, Su Jiaron would not believe her if she said that this house was here when she came. Yes, Baya answered. Su Jiaron sneered and looked at the food. Where's the pig leg over there? Did you hunt it as well? I asked someone else for it. There are other families living on this island. If you don't believe me, I can take you there now, Baya said coldly, staring at Su Jiaron without blinking. She thought that if Su Jiaron insisted on going, she would take him to the bamboo house and pretend to faint halfway. After that, everything would depend on the will of the heavens. Su Jiaron pursed his lips and put his arm around Baya's waist to pull her to his side. Since you've told me so much, I'll definitely believe you. There's nothing to clean up here. Are you going to take these pork legs and fish away? My period is coming. I don't think you have any female products on your ship, right? Baya asked. Su Jiaron was even more surprised. You're on your period. How do you solve it here? Wait for me. Baya climbed onto the bed and opened a sanitary napkin. She scattered the ashes inside and wrote one word, wait. She came down with the other sanitary napkins and said to Su Jiaron, Let's go. Su Jiaron looked at the bed suspiciously. Baya was afraid that he would find out something, so she went out first. Su Jiaron brought 6 of his men and stood in 2 rows, standing at attention. Su Jiaron's white cruise ship was parked on the sea. Under the sunlight, it reflected a dazzling light. She estimated that it would take more than 6 hours for her to go back. If she informed Song Shiyu to pick her up, it would be 12 hours later. If Gu Lingqing came back too late and it was too dark, he would not be able to see the words she left on the bed. If he could not find her, he would think that she had gone out to look for her. She still had to leave a mark for him. Why aren't you leaving? Su Jiaron stood behind her and asked. Baya turned around and looked at Su Jiaron. It's not a pity for those fish. I caught them with a net. Those wild boar legs are very rare. It's a pity that we didn't take them with us. We'll be back for more than 6 hours. I'll make wild boar meat for you. Okay, Su Jiaron replied. Baya walked towards the house. Su Jiaran looked at Baya's back and ordered his men beside him. You stay on the island with 2 people. See who lives with Baya. If it's a man, no matter who he is, kill him. Yes. Baya returned to the small house. She took a piece of wood that had not burned out and wrote on a stone, left by boat. Wait. She covered the stone with the leaves, afraid that Su Jiaran would come in and find out. She took the 2 boar legs and walked out. She saw Su Jiaran standing alone on the beach. She lowered her eyes and walked towards him. Su Jiaran took the boar leg from her hands and picked it up to size it up. This boar leg looks good. Are there a lot of wild animals on this island? I've been on the island for 4 days. I haven't seen any wild animals, but there are a lot of fish and crabs, Baya said simply and walked towards the deck. Su Jiaran followed behind her. After boarding the boat, he handed the boar leg to his men. Baya walked straight to the cockpit and asked casually, Are you the one driving the boat? Su Jiaran looked at her coldly and did not stop her. Baya walked to the door of the cockpit and saw 2 people in uniform sitting inside. She looked at the nautical chart and noted down the latitude and longitude of this place. So you're not the one driving the boat? Baya smiled slightly and looked at Su Jiaran. Su Jiaran's lips curled into a smile, but his eyes were cold. He already knew why she came to the cockpit. Xiaoya, do you remember what you promised me? Baya's body trembled and she looked at Su Jiaran with a dark expression. I remember. Su Jiaran put his hand on her waist gently. We haven't seen each other for so long. I'm afraid you won't remember. Don't do anything that you'll regret. I've given you a few chances, and you've used up your last one. Do you understand? Baya lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes left a black silhouette under her eyelids, covering the flowing light in her eyes. She had already made up her mind. Even if she only had 20 days to live, she would spend 19 days with Gu Lingqing. She did not want to hurt him anymore. One day at a time was one day at a time. She was compromising now because she had no choice but to be found by him. Also, she could only find someone to save Gu Lingqing when she returned. You haven't told me how you found me. Baya changed the topic. A fishing boat called the police. It said that it saw a girl crying for help on an isolated island. It even took a photo. I saw it and thought it looked like you, so I came over, Su Jiaran explained. Called the police? No wonder the fishing boat didn't come close. It was very safe. If you didn't cry for help, I would have thought that you ran away again. I almost issued a global arrest warrant, Su Jiaran said jokingly, but his eyes did not look like he was joking at all. That fisherman definitely didn't call the police at the Bell and Drum District Police Station. I was framed by the Bell and Drum District Police Chief, Chen Bin. He's LV Xingzhou's man, and I know that LV Xingzhou is the mastermind behind the family extermination case, Baya said solemnly. Do you have any proof? If you don't, no one will believe your words. After all, the people you're targeting are the Jinyuan City Bell and Drum District Police Chief, and the governor of Jie Province. Chapter 313. I don't have any evidence. Have you eaten? Is there a place to cook on your ship? I'll cook for you. Baya changed the topic. She just wanted to reach the shore safely and find a chance to inform Song Shiyu. Not yet. Follow me. Su Jiaran turned around and stopped after taking 2 steps. Baya also stopped and kept a safe distance from him. Su Jiaran glanced at Baya with a cold gaze and ordered, Take 2 steps forward. Baya knitted her brows and took 2 steps forward. Su Jiaran took a big step forward and hugged her waist, pulling her to his side. Why are you so distant? She lifted her head to look at him. 3 years had passed, but the passage of time had not left any traces on Su Jiaran's face. Just based on his appearance, he was still as handsome as ever. His pair of flirtatious eyes shone with a seductive luster. She still remembered the first time they met. Her mother had a relapse and bumped into him. Not only did he not target her, but he also helped her and allowed her mother to receive good treatment. Before they got married, he helped her find a job and solved her problems at work. He sent flowers to her company every day. When she worked overtime, he would send her supper. In winter, when her hands were cold, he would hold her hand and put it in his pocket. She remembered all the things he did for her. It was just that those things were deliberately planned by him. After they got married, she fell into endless darkness. She and Su Jiaran did not have a good beginning, so naturally, there would not be a good ending. Now, he was just possessive and conquering her. Love. It had long been lost in the river of time. I haven't bathed or washed my hair for a few days. Don't you think I smell? Baya said indifferently. Su Jiaran sniffed her body and then her neck. He sniffed again. His breath fell on her skin. She felt itchy and took a step back. This action completely infuriated Su Jiaran. He grabbed her chin and kissed her on the lips. Baya was shocked and pushed Su Jiaran away. A sharp glint flashed past Su Jiaran's eyes. He rushed over like a thunderstorm. Arrogant and domineering, he lifted Baya up. Baya sensed the danger and screamed, "Let me go!" Su Jiaran's sharpness grew. He said in a sinister tone, "Why should I let you go? You are my woman. I have given you too many chances and time. I won't let you go again. I won't let you go." "Don't be like this," Baya said sharply. His voice was trembling. He kicked the door open, threw Baya on the bed, and untied his tie. Baya's eyes were wide open. They were filled with fear and panic. She rolled down from the bed and hid at the side of the bed. She looked at Su Jiaran defensively. Su Jiaran sneered and said coldly, "Last time you said your aunt was here. It has been a few days since you left. I don't believe you haven't recovered." Baya trembled and clenched her fists. She really wanted to jump off the boat and end it all. However, Gu Lingqing was still on the deserted island. She wanted to inform others to rescue Gu Lingqing. She could die a worthy death. "I really can't. I was forced to fall into the sea last time and I haven't recovered. Su Jiaran, don't do this." Baya begged. "Don't do this?" Ha! Su Jiaran sneered and walked forward. Baya stood up subconsciously and stepped back. A crack appeared in Su Jiaran's eyes. He said sternly, "Don't do this, or don't you want to do this? You never thought of giving yourself to me. Why should I give myself to you? How did you treat me when we were married?" Baya shouted back. "When I was young and frivolous, I was blinded by hatred. When I was young and frivolous, I was blinded by hatred. I've said that I've changed. How did I treat you? How did Gu Lingqing treat you? Gu Lingqing was the one who brought you more pain. At least I didn't have children with other women. Gu Lingqing still has Zhou Heilan's child." Su Jiaran took off his clothes and walked toward Baya. "You forced me, hurt the person I love, and injected poison into me. This is how you treat me. Do you think I will fall in love with you? Gu Lingqing brought me pain because he lost his memory. I didn't blame him at all. In your heart, he is good and I am bad. What else can I say?" Su Jiaran was completely crazy. He really loved her. She didn't know that after she disappeared, he hadn't slept a wink. He had already mobilized everyone to look for her. He loved her, so he tolerated and forgave her again and again. He loved her, so he offended Gu Lingqing. One must know that Gu Lingqing's power and background were very powerful. However, she didn't believe in his love at all. In her eyes, Gu Lingqing was good and he was bad. His heart hurt so much that it was about to explode. Was the heavens punishing him? Punishing him for toying with too many people's feelings in the past, so he was destined to never get the woman he wanted. Su Jiaran clenched his teeth. "That's right. I, Su Jiaran, have never loved you, Baya. I just don't want my things to be taken away by others, and I don't want Gu Lingqing to take them away. If they are destined to be taken away, then I will destroy them, and I will also destroy the person who took them away from me. Let me tell you, Baya, you are just a plaything of mine. Now, whether you are on your period or not, I have decided to F***ck you. Also, do you think I don't know? The person who lives on the island with you is Gu Lingqing. Other than Gu Lingqing, you are not willing to live with other men. You even went to the cockpit to look at the latitude and longitude of the deserted island. You wanted to inform his people to save him. Do you think Gu Lingqing will live past tonight? I'm sorry, but my people are already lying in ambush on the island. He is dead meat. I will not let him live. If you obey me, I will give you a way out. If you disobey me, I will make sure that you and Gu Lingqing die far away. I will make it impossible for the two of you to be together forever. Su Jiaran, you are despicable. Baiya roared hysterically. Heh, in your eyes, I am already a despicable person. I am wicked beyond redemption. If I don't do something despicable, I will let you down. Su Jiaran rushed towards Baiya. Baiya jumped out of the window. Su Jiaran chased after her. She straddled the railing. Su Jiaran's heart tightened. He stopped and shouted, "What are you doing? Don't you want to live anymore?" You know that I don't want to live. In fact, I didn't want to live more than 3 years ago. This time, don't save me. Even if you save me, I won't be grateful to you, and I won't fall in love with you. If I have the chance, I will kill you, Baiya said resolutely. Gu Lingqing was dead. She no longer had the desire to live. To live, she was still controlled by Su Jiaran. Chapter 3:14. Baiya, if you dare to jump, I, Su Jiaran, swear to you that I will make Bai Bing, Lu Shuang, and everyone you care about die with you, Su Jiaran warned. Baiya smiled, and tears flowed from her eyes. The people I care about include you. Su Jiaran paused. His soul seemed to have been hit by something violently, and he was in a trance. Baiya did not hesitate and jumped off the boat. Her whole body hit the surface of the sea, and it hurt a little. However, the pain was not in her heart, so it did not matter. She watched herself slowly fall. The surroundings were very quiet, so quiet that she could hear the sound of gurgling in her ears. The seawater was very blue, as if it could wash away all the filth on a person's body. Finally she died. If she had known that she would live such a painful life after living for 3 years, she would not have come back to life. It was a pity that she dragged Gu Lingqing down. Dragged him down. It was all her obsession, her selfishness, her bad luck, her fault. If there was a next life, she would definitely not drag Gu Lingqing down again. The oxygen in her lungs was getting lesser and lesser. She clenched her fists, opened her mouth, and inhaled a lot of liquid. Her nose, chest, lungs, brain, and entire body felt so uncomfortable that it was about to explode. Vaguely, she saw Su Jiaran swimming towards her. The last bit of breath flowed out of her body. Her body was as light as the seaweed in the sea, sinking to the bottom of the sea with the waves. Su Jiaran sped up. Thinking that she would die, his heart ached so much that he could not breathe. He held her shoulders and swam upwards. 2 minutes later, he brought Baiya out of the sea. Baiya's face was pale, and her lips were purple. She hung her head as if she was lifeless. Su Jiaran was very flustered, and he shook Baiya's shoulders. Baiya, don't die. I won't allow you to die. Do you hear me? If you die, I will definitely not let Gu Lingqing go. If you wake up now, I will ask them to let Gu Lingqing go. Do you hear me? Baiya was still unconscious and motionless. Commander, one of his men shouted, lowering the ladder. Su Jiaran carried her with one arm and stepped onto the rope ladder. His men pulled him up. He immediately performed mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on Baiya. After 10 times, Baiya still did not wake up. As long as Baiya did not wake up, he would not stop. After a long time, Baiya coughed softly. Su Jiaran looked at Baiya in surprise. She was still unconscious. His eyes dimmed again. One night Su Jiaran sat at the head of the bed and looked at the unconscious Baiya. His eyes were filled with emotions. The doctor said that all her vital signs were normal. There was no water in her lungs or brain, but she just wouldn't wake up. Xiaoya, let me tell you a piece of good news. None of my men came back, so Gu Lingqing should still be alive, Su Jiaran said. Baiya still had no reaction at all. She was as beautiful as a statue. Su Jiaran felt helpless. He caressed her head. In the past, I wanted you to stay by my side. Don't run away anymore. Don't run to Gu Lingqing's side. Now you're by my side, but in such a way. You said that I don't love you. If I don't love you, why would I do so much for you? There are many people who are prettier than you, younger than you, and more beautiful than you. You don't even have a good temper. Even if you're a toy, you're not qualified. You and I aren't young anymore. I don't have time to play love games. Do you know, Xiaoya? I really love you. So, don't worry, I won't let you die. Even if you're in a vegetative state, I'll take care of you for the rest of your life. The only response he got was silence. Knock. 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 There was a knock on the door. Su Jiaran looked at the door in annoyance. Come in. Commander-in-Chief, Gu Lingqing is back. He's outside with his men. He's asking for you, Su Jiaran's subordinate, Hu Lan, reported. Su Jiaran twitched the corner of his mouth and smiled. He asked me for her, so I have to give her to him. Who does he think I am? Where is this place? How many men and weapons did he bring? He brought a few hundred men and they're all armed. There are also 10 tanks. It's a big battle formation, Hu Lan said worriedly. What are you afraid of? Do you think my men and weapons are all vegetarians? If they step into my villa, kill them on the spot, Su Jiaran ordered sternly. Commander-in-Chief. Hu Lan risked her life to shout. She lowered her head and said, I don't think it's worth it for a vegetative state. Su Jiaran slapped her. What do you mean by it's not worth it for a vegetative state? The vegetative state lying on the bed is my wife. Listen to my orders and prepare for war. Su Jiaran's phone rang. He saw that it was the president's and picked it up. Jiaran, what's going on? Gu Lingqing brought a large group of people to your doorstep to ask for you. Who are you hiding? The president asked, puzzled. He wants my wife. If I give my wife to him, I'll lose face. I won't hand her over to him. Let's start the war, Su Jiaran said with certainty. No, Jiaran. Listen to me. If the internal conflict is so intense, not only will it affect the unity of the country and other parties, it will also cause international speculation and enemy countries to take advantage of the situation. It will also affect country A's status in the international community. I don't suggest starting a war. Talk to Gu Lingqing. His attitude is too firm. He's saying that I ordered you to do it and he's trying to frame him. After all, he's the leader of the special forces and your actions represent me. So if you can't negotiate in half an hour, I'll withdraw my armed forces from your place, the president said apologetically. Su Jiaran immediately understood the main point. You mean you'll help Gu Lingqing and not me? I'm not helping Gu Lingqing. It's just that if you start a war, it will really affect the unity of the country. I can only withdraw your armed forces to maintain peace, the president explained. Su Jiaran understood and sneered. Gu Lingqing's people listened to Gu Lingqing and not the president. The president couldn't do anything about it and he couldn't stop it. Moreover, he was more afraid of offending Gu Lingqing. However, he was different. To put it bluntly, he was the president's dog. Many people could replace his position. At a critical moment, the president would definitely sacrifice him. Su Jiaran walked out of the car. Gu Lingqing also got out of the car. He walked in front of Gu Lingqing and went straight to the point. Do you know why Baya still didn't choose to be with you when you were released? Baya chose to be with me. Now, you're the one who imprisoned her. Su Jiaran, I must take her away today, Gu Lingqing said firmly. Take her away? Do you want to take her body away? Su Jiaran said coldly. Gu Lingqing's eyes were sharp. If she dies, I'll bury you with her. Chapter 3:15. As soon as Su Jiaran finished his words, Gu Lingqing punched at Su Jiaran's face. Su Jiaran retreated a few steps and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with his thumb. He sneered and a sharp glint flashed in his eyes as he punched towards Gu Lingqing. The wind from his punch was strong and his speed was fast. He had wanted to beat up Gu Lingqing for a long time. When Bai Ya was still his woman, she came to provoke him and made him a cuckold. He had endured it until now. Gu Lingqing turned sideways and dodged Su Jiaran's punch. He held his arm and pushed him along the direction of his strength. Su Jiaran realized Gu Lingqing's intention. He held back the strength of his punch and rushed past Gu Lingqing. At the same time, he kicked backward. Gu Lingqing stepped back and dodged Su Jiaran's kick. Gu Lingqing also loosened his grip on Su Jiaran. Su Jiaran punched again. Gu Lingqing pushed his arm away and also punched at Su Jiaran's head. Su Jiaran lowered his head and dodged. When his elbow hit Gu Lingqing, he was also kicked by Gu Lingqing. After that, the two of them wrestled with each other. Su Jiaron's soldiers and Gu Lingqing's soldiers looked at each other. They looked at each other and then looked at their own boss. With a bang, the sound of a pistol was heard. Everyone looked at the person who fired the gun. Su Zhang and Gu Lingqing's father both brought a group of people. What a scandal! Gu Lingqing's father, Gu Tianhang, said angrily. Get up, all of you, Su Zhang also said sternly. Su Jiaron stood up lazily and patted the dust on his body. Gu Lingqing also stood up. He tightened his jaw and looked ahead with a cold expression. His eyes were filled with disdain for all heroes. Follow me, Gu Tianhang said to Gu Lingqing. Let's go home and drink milk. Su Jiaron said sarcastically. Gu Lingqing's sharp gaze swept over Su Jiaron. Now he knew why Baiya chose to leave him after he was released, why Baiya insisted on leaving the deserted island, and why Baiya made him promise to live well after she died. He knew that Su Jiaron was despicable, but he didn't expect him to be despicable enough to poison Baiya. If you have something to say, come at me. Don't target Baiya, Gu Lingqing said sternly. I can do whatever I want with my woman. What does that have to do with you? Also, if I have something to do with you? Sorry, you are nothing in my eyes. I don't have time to waste on you. Su Jiaron retorted. Gu Lingqing grabbed Su Jiaron's collar and pulled him up. Where is Baiya now? I want to see her. Su Jiaron raised his chin and curled up the corner of his mouth. He said evilly, she is my woman. Why should I let you see her whenever you want to? I won't let you see her. I won't let you see her for the rest of your life. Gu Lingqing clenched his teeth and pulled Su Jiaron in front of him. You try to kill me first. If I take you to the military court, I promise you won't see the sun tomorrow. Su Jiaron was not afraid at all. He let go of Gu Lingqing's hand and straightened his clothes. He said lazily, if you have evidence, you can take me to the military court. But don't blame me for not reminding you. If I die, I will let Baiya die with me. Gu Lingqing locked Su Jiaron in a death grip. Su Jiaron guessed it right. Firstly, there was no evidence. Secondly, Baiya was his weakness. For Baiya, he would not take Su Jiaron to the military court. This pressure shrouded his heart. He could not vent it. He clenched his fists so hard that the veins on the back of his hands were bulging. Su Jiaron seemed to have seen through it. He smiled arrogantly and arrogantly. What's mine is mine. Others can't get it no matter how hard they try. Gu Lingqing punched Su Jiaron's face again. He spat out a mouthful of blood. One of his teeth was knocked out. F***ck. Su Jiaron was enraged. He picked up his gun and aimed it at Gu Lingqing's head. He loaded the gun. Gu Tianhong's eyes narrowed. He picked up his gun and aimed it at Su Jiaron. Do you think the Gu family is jealous? The soldiers saw that the situation was not right. They all picked up their guns. Their foreheads and noses were covered in cold sweat. If anyone opened fire, there would definitely be countless casualties. Everyone held their breath. The surroundings were eerily quiet. Su Zhang looked at Gu Tianhang, then looked at Su Jiaron. His phone rang. When he saw that it was from the president, he quickly picked it up. Old Gu, Lingqing, Jiaron, the president called. He wants us to go to the president's palace. It's urgent, Su Zhang said. Gu Tianhang was the first to take out his gun. Su Jiaron looked at Gu Lingqing coldly. He didn't want to take out his gun. Gu Lingqing pursed his lips. He was neither servile nor overbearing. He was fearless in the face of danger. He looked at death calmly. His eyes were focused and sharp. He had an awe-inspiring dignity. Su Jiaron thought of the president's words. If he couldn't solve it in half an hour, his people would be dismissed. Only with power could he be invincible. He took out his gun. That's good. The president wants us to go now. I've arranged a plane. Let's go together, Su Zhang said to everyone. The roaring sound of the plane's engine could be heard from afar. Gu Lingqing looked at the window of Su Jiaron's villa. He narrowed his eyes. There was an obscure look in his dark eyes. If he guessed correctly, Baiya was inside. He should protect his woman. He didn't know how Xiaoya was doing now. President Palace Su Jiaron was there. Gu Lingqing was there. Gu Tianhang was there. Su Zhang was there. Shen Yan was there. The president said with a smile, "We're all brothers. Why can't we solve it? Why do we need to fight? Su Jiaran kidnapped my wife. It's not too much for me to ask for my wife back, right?" Gu Lingqing asked coldly. Su Jiaran smiled. "She's your ex-wife. Your ex-wife is also my ex-wife. She's willing to be with me." "Are you going to snatch her away from me? Are you really going to snatch her away from me? You injected the virus into my wife. If she was willing, why did you do it?" Gu Lingqing asked coldly. "That's because she's willing. Whether she was willing or not, let her say it herself. If she wasn't willing, then please detoxify her immediately and don't imprison her anymore. Can you do that?" Gu Lingqing asked powerfully. "The problem is that she can't say it now. She accidentally fell into the sea. After I rescued her, she has been in a coma until now." Su Jiaran said coldly. "What? How did she fall into the sea?" Gu Lingqing was shocked. "That's the question for you. She wanted to go with me, but you didn't let her. You pushed her into the sea," Su Jiaran said coldly. Gu Lingqing slammed the table and stood up. He said sternly, "You're talking nonsense. Did you push her into the sea?" Su Jiaran leaned on the chair lazily. "If I pushed her into the sea, why would I rescue her?" Su Jiaran. Gu Lingqing was so angry that he was about to explode. His whole body was like a taut string that could explode at any time. Su Jiaran's phone rang. He saw that it was Hu Lan's and answered, "What's up?" Chapter 316. What? Su Jiaran took his phone and walked to the side. He lowered his voice and said, "You said that Xiao Yao is missing. How did she disappear?" "I don't know. I went to Miss Bai's room just now. There was no one on the bed," Hu Lan said, trembling. "She woke up? Look around the villa." "She shouldn't have gone far," Su Jiaran said anxiously. "We've searched every corner of the villa. We've checked the CCTV too. No one walked out of Miss Bai's room," Hu Lan reported. Su Jiaran understood. He swiped his phone and strode towards Gu Lingqing. He picked up Gu Lingqing's collar. Gu Lingqing pushed him away and said sternly, "Get lost." "Gu Lingqing, are you crazy? Without me, Bai wouldn't be able to live for more than a month. You actually got someone from the shadows to kidnap her?" Su Jiaran said angrily. Gu Lingqing frowned. "What do you mean by that? Xiaoya was kidnapped?" Su Jiaran saw the clues. His heart skipped a beat. He had a bad premonition and a chill ran down his spine. "It wasn't you?" Gu Lingqing was also worried. "Where is Xiaoya now? Who would kidnap her?" "Su Jiaran, how many people have you offended?" Su Jiaran sat on the sofa. His eyes flickered quickly and his face was pale. He had indeed offended a lot of people. However, which one of them didn't have the ability to kidnap Bai Ye? "It really wasn't you?" Gu Lingqing was anxious and worried. He ran towards the door. "I'll deal with you after I find Bai Ye." Su Jiaran saw that Gu Lingqing had left. He nodded to the president and said, "Mr. President, my wife has been kidnapped. I have to leave first." Before the president could recover, Su Jiaran was already running toward the door. Gu Tianhang looked at Gu Lingqing's back as he walked away and said angrily, "Our family is unfortunate to have provoked a jinx." "What a jinx?" He also stood up. He wanted to find Bai Ye before they did. Once he killed Bai Ye, he would not have to worry. "Mr. President, I'll be leaving first." Seeing that Gu Tianhang was leaving, Su Zheng followed suit. "Old Gu, wait for me." Only Shani Yan and the president were left in the room. Who is that woman? How could she make Su Jiaran and Gu Lingqing fall head over heels in love with her? The president asked in surprise. Shen Yan smiled coquettishly. "That's a good thing. Gu Lingqing and Su Jiaran are restraining and suppressing each other. If Gu Lingqing had married Su Zheng's daughter, Gu Lingqing would be the president instead of me." "You're right. But will it affect the internal unity in the long run? Gu Lingqing has the military's morale and Su Jiaran is cruel and merciless. Both of them are not easy to deal with. You'll be in office this year, but you're still young. You can't have any accidents, the president said worriedly.
Shen Yen swirled the wine glass elegantly and looked at the red liquid in the glass charmingly.
He said confidently, "What if I have all of their weaknesses in my hands?" "What do you mean?" The president did not quite understand. Shen Yen smiled meaningfully. His eyes were unparalleled and full of confidence. The president saw that he did not say anything and nodded. He was quite satisfied with his son's performance in the past few years. "It's good that you have your own plans. Remember these words from your father. A lack of forbearance in small matters will spoil great plans. You must be ruthless and not soft-hearted. You're an emperor. You must prioritize national affairs. You must pay equal attention to kindness and authority. Check and balance are the most important. Know yourself and know your enemy. Only then can you win every battle."
"Okay," Shen Yen answered.
"By the way, after you take office, marry Princess Anna of Country K. Country K is very important to our stability in the international market and is also an important diplomatic support for our country. In addition, her mother is the Princess Royal of Country S. Country S is a big country with oil and mineral resources. She needs to visit her uncle more often," the president told him. Shen Yen looked down. His charming eyes were dark and gloomy. He put down the wineglass and said, "Dad, have you ever thought of marrying Su Jiaron's mother?" The president shook his head. "I can distinguish between national affairs. If mother asks you to break off your relationship with Xiong Dani, will you do so?" Shen Yen asked. "I will, but your mother is very virtuous. She is well-educated and tolerant. I'm very lucky to have her." When the president mentioned his wife, his face was full of tenderness. Shen Yen chuckled. "I saw a joke the last time. The wife asked her husband, 'If your mother and I fell into the river at the same time, who would you save first?' The husband asked, 'Your father and I went to visit prostitutes together and were caught at the same time. You only have enough money to bail out one person. Who would you save first?' What do you mean?" the president asked. Shen Yen smiled. "Since she is already very lucky, I should treat her better. I'll take my leave first." The president was speechless. Shen Yen stood up and adjusted his clothes. He looked at the president. "Soon, you will no longer be the president. You can retire and not be responsible for the country. Will you marry Su Jiaron's mother?" The president shook his head. Shen Yen did not say anything. He turned around and left. 1 day, 2 days. 1 month, 2 months. 1 year, 2 years. Spring passed and autumn came. 2 years had passed. Gu Lingqing did not find Bai Ya. Su Jiaron did not find Bai Ya either. Gu Lingqing caught Chen Bin, the fisherman, and the assassin. Lu Xingzhou was sentenced to death. In the same year, Luliang City and the people from Xinjiang Construction Company were also sentenced to death. Xing Bachuan took advantage of his position to seek personal gains of up to 1.3 billion yuan. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison and deprived of political rights for life. Xing Jinyan was sentenced to 13 years in prison, and all his assets were confiscated. The strange thing was that Lu Xingzhou and Luliang City did not mention anything about the massacre of the village. Even though they were sentenced to death, they did not say that they had anything to do with him. Therefore, among the 5 people who massacred the village, other than Governor Chang, Luliang City, Lu Xingzhou, and Xing Bachuan, there was one more person. There was no clue at all. Gu Lingqing vaguely felt that the person who disappeared in the end must be someone of high status and power. He was so important that even a sinister person like Lu Xingzhou did not dare to mention him. Could Xiaoye have been taken away by that person? Unfortunately, that person and Xiaoye seemed to have vanished from the world. There was no news at all. During the first year of Bai Ya's disappearance, Gu Lingqing often woke up from his dreams. Every time, he dreamed that Bai Ya's face was covered in blood and he was begging him for help. When he woke up, he was at his wits' end again. Alcohol and cigarettes became necessities in his life. Because of excessive drinking, he had a gastric hemorrhage. He went to the hospital for emergency treatment and almost died. He was still alive. Subconsciously, he wanted to go with Bai Ya. After he was saved, he continued to drink and smoke. He was depressed until one day, a farmer sent a child to him. Chapter 317. He asked the farmer how he and Bai Ya's child came to be. The farmer said that more than 6 years ago, a man gave him the child and let him raise it. He gave him 3,000 yuan a month. Then, the man asked him to send the child to a man named Gu Lingqing. He didn't know anything else. He asked the farmer if he could describe the man's appearance. The farmer shook his head and didn't say anything. He didn't know if the farmer didn't know the man's appearance or if he really didn't know. He checked the farmer's background and the people in the farmer's village. There was no problem. The farmer was an honest farmer who lived in a remote mountain village. The others didn't know where the child came from, and they had never seen the man that the farmer mentioned. He wondered if the reason why he returned the child at this time was because he didn't want to see the farmer give up on himself. The child must have been taken away by someone on his side. He went to visit the chief that he had met when he was on a mission. General Kai Qingyun. Unfortunately, General Kai Qingyun had already passed away 3 months ago when he arrived. Everything seemed to be a mystery. He couldn't find the exit, nor could he find any clues. He named the child Gu Yan to continue their relationship, to continue all the unfinished love. He also temporarily left the military and inherited the family business. If he found Bai Ya, he would bring Bai Ya to travel around the world and live a peaceful life. Unfortunately, another year passed, and he still couldn't find Bai Ya. Zhou Hailan was diagnosed with diabetes, and Gu Lingqing took the other child, Gu Ruoxin, to take care of him so that the 2 children wouldn't be lonely. It was the first day of school, and Gu Ruoxin and Gu Yan were about to enter the 1st grade. The school let the 1st graders go to school a day earlier to get to know each other. They also organized a parents' meeting, and all the parents gathered in the hall. Gu Lingqing saw Su Jiaran. Su Jiaran also saw Gu Lingqing. They looked at each other, and Gu Lingqing turned his face away, ignoring him, and walked to the back. Su Jiaran stood in front of him and questioned, "Why did you leave the military? Why didn't you deal with me? My research on the antidote has failed. Bai Ya is dead for sure." Gu Lingqing looked at Su Jiaran coldly. "For people like you, if Xiaoya is still alive, you should watch me and Xiaoya live happily together. If Xiaoya is dead, I can't let her die. You are not qualified to die with her." Su Jiaran lowered his eyes. "She's already dead. If she wasn't dead, the people who captured her would have come to threaten you or me, but they didn't. She will always live in my heart. Get out of my way," Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Su Jiaran looked up at him. "Xiaoya is really dead. I poisoned her with my own hands. The research on the antidote failed, and no one can save her." That day on the ship, I wanted to have sex with her. She jumped off the ship into the sea. When I fished her out of the water, she was already dead. In the end, it's me, it's all me, it's me, it's me, it's me, it's me, it's her death. Gu Lingqing, look for me to avenge her. Why are you leaving me hanging like this? Gu Lingqing ignored him. He pushed him away, walked past him, and sat on the last seat. Su Jiaran followed behind him and sat down next to him. His eyes were filled with despondency, pessimism, and self-blame. He thought that by threatening his life, he could keep Xiaoya by his side. He still didn't ask for her love. He just wanted her to stay with him. In the end, Bai Ya didn't even let him know where she died. Compared to never seeing her again, he should have let go. He already knew that he was wrong. "Gu Lingqing, don't let me go. I'm the culprit who killed Bai Ya," Su Jiaran said in a low voice. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. He looked at the teacher who walked in. His thoughts drifted away. He remembered that Bai Ya told him many wishes. All of them were just to persuade him not to seek death. He knew it. He understood it. Now that he and her child had returned to him, he couldn't die. "But, Xiaoya, where are you?" "Gu Lingqing, did you hear what I said?" Su Jiaran frowned and asked. "What did you say?" "I don't want to hear it. I won't kill you, but it doesn't mean that I want to see you. Don't appear in front of me again," Gu Lingqing said coldly. "If you don't take revenge on me, you'll regret it," Su Jiaran warned. He was annoyed and left through the back door. The teacher glanced at Su Jiaran, twitched the corner of his mouth and continued, "It's very important for the 1st graders to form habits. Parents, please supervise your children's study habits and try to finish their homework before doing other things. In the past, when the children were in kindergarten, Many families would take their children away after informing the teacher. When the parents went out for a trip, they would tell the teacher and take their children away. But when it came to the primary school, this kind of thing was not allowed. If you want to leave for half a day, you can tell me. If you want to leave for a day, I have to ask the principal. If you want to leave for 2 or more days, you must have a valid reason or a sick leave certificate from the hospital. In the future, leave your children to us. We will be responsible for you and your children. But parents are the best teachers for their children. I hope that parents will set an example for their children. Involuntarily, Gu Lingqing thought of Bai Ya again. If Bai Ya was still alive, she would definitely be a good mother. She would definitely teach her children well. Gu Lingqing's heart was tightly entangled by the poisonous vines. A wave of bitterness flowed out. Xiaoya was really cruel. She disappeared just like that. She didn't even leave him a single message. After the parent-teacher meeting, Gu Lingqing picked up the 2 children and went straight to his office. The assistant knocked on the door. President Gu, there are 10 tutors coming for an interview today. Call them to the meeting room, Gu Lingqing ordered. Yes. By the time Gu Lingqing arrived at the meeting 5 minutes later, the 10 interviewees had already arrived. He sat on the boss's chair. It was a habit he had developed over a long period of time in the military. Even in his own space, his back was ramrod straight. I need a tutor who can spend the night with the child. They will be full-time on Saturday and Sunday after school. If anyone feels that the time is not suitable, they can leave early. After he said that, 7 of the 10 interviewees left. Only 3 remained, 1 male and 2 females. Gu Lingqing glanced at their faces. Tell me about your advantages. I would like to know how much the tutors are paid. President Gu? The only male interviewee asked. Tell me about your advantages first. If you don't have any advantages, what's the point of telling you? Gu Lingqing said coldly. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.